All right. So Zoom is now going to YouTube. I have no idea what this means. Your
Yeah,
meeting is being
switch
to
this.
stay in this meeting. You consent to being anyone with access to live stream can share it. Got it.
It's going to show you how quick and easy it is to use this phone scope adapter.
Oh, and David, if you could come back,
Yes.
can I take a screenshot of all of us real quick before we like get going?
For observing wildlife.
Yeah, ready? Tim, you ready? This is so exciting. Oh
Yeah,
my
I'm ready to go.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Cool. And then one of you has an audio playing in your background.
I know, and I'm looking for it. It's mine.
That's okay. That happens to me all the time.
I'm just going to start clearing out windows here.
Okay, YouTube is doing its thing.
Very decent images.
I think. It looks like it's like thinking about it. So now I'm gonna go on start the room. Would like to access your microphone, yes. And then, okay, so now I'm in Clubhouse.
And David, if you could come back.
Awesome. Hey, Gus. Hey, Joe. Awesome. Hey, Pilar. Hey, everybody. Okay. So everybody that's just joining in Clubhouse, this is a workshop to build your podcast website. And this is being live streamed. Oh, that's why I could hear myself.
This is so exciting. Oh my
I thought I was hearing myself back, but I was hearing myself on YouTube. Got it. Okay. So everybody in Clubhouse, if you want to access a screen share where we are right now, it's lu.ma/podcast website -2. If you go to my Twitter, you'll see it right at the top of my Twitter. So in this workshop, you're going to learn how to build your podcast website for free, and it's SEO optimized. And I'm going to be doing live podcast audits. This is like an amazing experience. Hasn't been done, would cost you thousands anywhere else. And I'm so excited that you'll have this awesome website. And I'm also happy to invite anybody up that has any questions. So just like raise your hand and I'll invite you up if you have questions about that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on Twitter Spaces. And hello, everybody on YouTube. If you guys have any questions, just write it in the comments. I've never done something like this before. Let's see. Oh, I know. I could turn the sound off on YouTube, but keep play so I could see any comments that come in. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Let me go to the end of the stream. This is so exciting. I love experimenting. And thank you, Liz, Tim, and David for being so patient. Okay, and then start now. So everybody in Clubhouse that wants to come up or has questions or wants to access the screen share where I see everybody right now, you have that. And now I have this in Twitter Spaces. So let me just do that. Okay. And then let me do this. And thank you everybody everywhere for being patient, like as my content creator economy is in effect. All right. Hey, Pocket. All right. All right. We're set up on Clubhouse. Again, this is for everybody looking to build a website for your podcast. Hey, Michael. So if you have any questions, go ahead. Paul, if you want to come up, actually, that would be great. If you're down, raise your hand. Hey, Elliot. So everybody that just joined on Twitter Spaces, invite a speaker. Hey, hey, Paul, will you help me co-lead right now? That would be, if you have time, that would be amazing. Thank you. So I'm building I'm doing a podcast website building workshop. I'm going to make you moderator. It's so everybody could have an SEO optimized podcast for their website. This is an experiment. So I'm live on YouTube, I'm on Clubhouse, and I'm on Twitter Spaces all at the same time to empower everyone to have an SEO optimized podcast website for their podcast. And I'm going to be doing SEO audits. And we also have a live room that you could see at the top of my Twitter profile. So I'm going to go on silent on Clubhouse because it's too hard, and I want to make sure I can, everybody can hear me, and that's what they need. But if they have questions, it would be great. So if you could help talk to people and invite them up if they want to and give them the right links, that would be great. And then I'll be silent on Clubhouse, and you could just shoot me a DM with questions. Is that okay? Paul? Uh-oh.
Yes, that works. Sorry, I was tweeting out your space.
All right, cool. Okay, cool. I just made you moderate.
So I can just DM you.
Yeah, and everybody's welcome to be on stage, so feel free to invite anybody up. The only rule I have is that no one can be an asshole, but that's my rule in life.
Okay, I'll leave.
Stop.
Well,
Okay,
I can be an asshole. I just won't act like one.
And Ramya is joining us right now. And then on Twitter, hey everybody on Twitter Spaces. I'll be with you in just a sec as well. And yes.
Should I maintain radio silence over here?
No, you can talk and everything because I want everybody to feel connected in community.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. What a great experiment. Okay, thank you.
So I'm just going to make myself, I'm going to turn the volume down for myself, but everybody can still hear my voice. But if you need to reach me, just shoot me a DM on Clubhouse, and I'll keep my messenger open to see your message.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So everybody, everybody listening, go to podpage.com. And then to get the free month of Pro, that you can have a free website in general, but to get all the Pro features for free, use Espree VIP. So that's Espree VIP, ESPREE VIP. And then you get the Pro features for free for a month. That was a gift from the founder of Podpage, because I moved all my websites from WordPress to Podpage. And it's such an amazing experience. So I can't wait to set all of you up as well. And then, and I have everybody on Twitter Spaces. This is crazy. I'm down. And
Podpage
again,
is giving us a website error.
Podpage.com is?
This website is currently experiencing issues and is not accessible.
Podpage.com? PAGE.com?
Yep.
That's weird. I just logged in seconds ago. I'll message the founder that
It might just be me. I'll be quiet.
It seems like it's working on this end.
Okay, I'll give it a shot again.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know if it's not working for you. Okay, and then I have one more thing, and then everybody, we're going to get started. Again, this is an experimental thing where I'm live everywhere, and I'm looking just to support everybody in having the most amazing website for their podcast. And it's really hard to be live in 1 million places at a time. I want to thank Paul Votto on Clubhouse for helping me co-moderate this amazing podcast workshop. What you're about to discover would cost you thousands anywhere else, literally, because I'm going to be doing SEO audits of what keywords you should be using and what keywords you should be using and how to get found. If you want to join the live screen where we're live, you just go to the top of my Twitter and you'll see the link there to join the live stream. So definitely feel free to do that if you'd like to be on screen with me. And that's kind of my main production hub right now. So, and I'll try to post that in as many places as possible as well. And everybody's been so patient. Actually, Liz, Tim, David, Ramya. Hi, Ramya. Uh-oh, can we hear you? Oh, you have to unmute, Ramya. And let me see the chat. Okay, cool. Cool, and let me check the chat over here. Okay, cool, yay. Oh my God, this is so exciting. So exciting. Okay, give me one more second. And everybody in front of my face right now on the Zoom, thank you so much for being just so patient. Again, this is crazy, but consider this is the cost of having it for free. The patience. I just love that this is happening. Okay. I love helping everybody. Cool. And everybody that's just joining, podpage.com is the web builder that we'll be using. And in order to get your, the pro for free, just enter Espree VIP. So I've turned off all notifications. I have everything set and all those things closed. And all right, let's get started into the good stuff. So has everybody gone on, and everybody on Twitter Spaces, I'm on mute. I didn't even know I was on mute on Twitter Spaces, but now I am not on mute. Yeah, but that's it. So that was my first glitch of the session, is that I was on mute on Twitter Spaces, but I'm not. So everybody that couldn't hear on Twitter Spaces, this is a podcast website building workshop. If you'd like to join the actual workshop, go to my first tweet has the link to see the screen share. It's lu.ma/podcast website -2. That's lu.ma/podcast website -2. This is a workshop to learn how to build an SEO optimized website for your podcast. Okay. So now we're kicking it off, and everybody in Twitter Spaces, sorry that I was on mute. It was my first glitch. As I shared, I'm live on YouTube, on Clubhouse, on Twitter Spaces, and on Zoom all at the same time. Okay, so the people that I am focused on right now, and if you want to join us, like I said, just my first tweet, I'm going to be doing Liz's, Tim's, Ramya's, and David's podcast website and SEO audits, and I'm happy to do everybody else too on Clubhouse, on Twitter Spaces. You just have to join the Zoom room for that more interactive experience. And again, I want to thank Paul Valto for helping me co-moderate the Clubhouse room. Okay, so Liz, let's start with you. Are you comfortable with that?
I'm here to learn, so I don't have my own podcast up yet, but I have some websites in the e-commerce space, and I'm just learning about what the next steps are once I do decide to go forward with the podcast. So
perfect.
I'm here to listen and learn.
Okay, perfect. So nobody actually, that's a great point. Nobody actually needs a podcast in order to have the podcast website that we're doing today. So you could totally start creating your full on podcast website without having a podcast. But let's start by doing the SEO research. And so that you could see. Also, another way to see the screen share, by the way, I didn't even think of this. Again, this is total experiment, is going to youtube.com/Espree, youtube.com/Espree. You could see the Zoom, but not participate in the Zoom if that's what you would prefer. Actually, I should post in the thing. Oh, Sis is growing. How cool. Am I the only one in the YouTube? Maybe you are. I don't know, but I see you, and that's all that matters. Here's the link to join us in the Zoom if you want. Podcast website -2. Okay, I think, and let me see, can I pin this? This is my first time doing it this way. Let me see if I could pin this. I don't think I can, but anyway, can I post this as a comment? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know, but it's in the chat now. I put the link if anybody wants to join us in the Zoom. So let's start by doing keyword research. The paid tool that I used, and I'm going to start with the screen share. The paid tool that I use for let me get off of YouTube. Okay, the paid tool that I use for SEO is SEMrush. I love SEMrush. So we're going to be using SEMrush. If you want a free alternative, that's Ubersuggest. So Ubersuggest is a free alternative. SEMrush is the paid tool that I use that I absolutely love, and that's what you'll be able to see on the screen share. Everybody just joining us, this is a podcast website building workshop. I'm simulcasting in multiple places. So I'm going to share my screen right now. And the order that we're going to go in is we're going to go Liz, and I know David, you're mostly listening in. So we're going to go Liz, Tim, Ramya, David, if David wants to participate. David, I don't know how much you want to participate, so just let me know. And then anybody else that joins the main Zoom room can have the podcast audit as well. If you're listening in from Twitter Spaces, from YouTube Live, or from Clubhouse, you could view the screen on youtube.com/Espree. That's youtube.com/Espree. You could also join us in the Zoom. At the top of my Twitter is the link. Or, hey, Pilar, I see you. At the top of my Twitter is the link, and at the top of in the YouTube chat is the link. Okay, yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, Liz, yay! Okay, so what's your podcast gonna be about?
So health and wellness, and specifically right now, focused on at-home fitness and how to make the best of at-home fitness.
Cool. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Actually, I'm gonna swap. I'm gonna put you guys up, or else my face is gonna look. I'm swapping screens. Okay, and then I'm gonna do this, and then did I do it right? Desktop? No, this one. Desktop 1. Share. Okay, can you see my screen again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Sweet. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And I'm so excited Pilar joined us. Anybody else that wants to join us, see the links in the things. Oh, I should probably pin my tweet actually to my thing. And Paul, if you wanted to co-moderate the Twitter space too, you're welcome to do so. If you wanted to get all experimental with me, it's up to you.
Okay, I'm already on my other phone. I'll pop on as well.
I mean, Paul, you're, and for anybody that well, nobody knows really, is that, okay, I just posted it. Oh no, that's not the one. This one. There we go. I think I posted the link to the top now. Yeah. So now in that thing is the screen share if you want to join. Hey, Danny, I see you in the Twitter spaces. Okay. So, okay. So now, Liz, what, and remember, Liz, this is being shared. So only share what you're comfortable sharing publicly. So you can be as vague as you want, because this is about you understand the concepts and everybody understanding the concepts, but not breaching your privacy. And everybody listening in, if you want to view youtube.com/Espree, if you want to participate, the link is at the top. The link is at the top of my Twitter. And this is being simulcasted on Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, YouTube Live, and Zoom. So Liz, be careful with what you say so it could be shared publicly. What keyword would you like to be found for for your podcast?
Home fitness.
Okay.
At-home fitness.
So this tool I'm using is called SEMrush. If you want a free, if you want a free SEO tool, that's Ubersuggest is a great free alternative. I really like SEMrush a lot. It makes it really simple, and I'll show you reasons why I really like it. Again, everybody joining, this is a podcast website building workshop where I'm doing this as a community service. And right now we are doing the SEO part of building a podcast website. So we're typing in home fitness, and I'm going to do US. Does that work for you, Liz?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to press analyze. And so now you could see when you're building your website for your podcast, websites are the most important way to be found for your podcast now. Like this is starting to outrank, this is so fun. Sorry, I'm like so into this. This is and I have so much appreciation for Tim, David, and Liz, who had to go through the whole beginning portion. Websites are starting to outrank directories and platforms and everything in order to be found. So what you want to do is you want to do keyword research. So when people are searching Google, oh, there's another tool I forgot to bring up, and I'll do that right now. So when people are searching Google, they find you and they find your podcast. So what you want to think about when we're doing this keyword research is you want to be including your keyword research in your titles of your podcast, in your descriptions of your podcast, in the topics of your podcast. You want to think about what are people searching for, and Hey, Michelle, got you. What are people searching for and how can you optimize your content on your podcast website? Now, podpage.com makes it so easy, which we're going to be getting into Podpage and how to build that out, makes it so easy to be SEO optimized, search engine optimization. So many websites do not make it easy to be SEO optimized. Like they just don't do the work. The founder of Podpage has done tremendous, amazing work to make sure we are protected as creators and it can be found on Google. So for Liz, we're searching the key term home fitness, right? We can see the difficulty of the keyword is medium. My favorite feature, Liz, on SEMrush is this export to PDF, because when you export, and everybody in the Zoom, I can send you all your personal exports after so you can get a feeling. So maybe stay on the Zoom after the official is over, or email me and I can send it to you again, Liz, or anybody else that has the audit, and I can create an export for you. So like, I create the export and it simplifies everything for me so that I just know the data that I'm working on with in order to do the work for my podcast to be found. And Liz, just confirm, you could still see my screen, correct? And you can see the keyword?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we see it gets 3,000 searches a month, or approximately, and we see some of the top stuff is like home fitness, core home fitness, adjustable, pre-core. These are the top things that are coming up, and you see how the search volume in the US is around 6,000, 5,000. So we want to think about, let's say like best case scenario, we were able to get 1% of that traffic to come to our website, like 1% of that traffic to come to our website, then like that way we could reverse engineer how to get to 10,000 podcast listeners a month, because the more content that we create for these specific keywords, and the more genuine, authentic content that we create, the more that will be found, right? So we can see with the red, Liz, that it's really hard to be found for home fitness equipment. That has a lot of competition. But over here, American Home Fitness, of course, I don't know what that is, but you'll understand the concept. It's yellow, so it's a lot easier, right? So you want to be looking at like how hard is it to rank for those key terms, and what are the key terms you should be searching for. There's one more thing I wanted to pull up too. I'm going to stop a screen share real quick so I could pull that up. And while I'm doing that, Liz, can you start thinking of questions you have before I move on to the next little bit? But I want to, there's like amazing ways to produce content. So I want to bring that up on my screen as well. And then I would just want to log in to my other SEO account so I could show you guys how that works as well. Okay. And then with all these screens going, I'm sure that my computer is going to get a little bit slow, but we'll just work it out. Liz, while we're talking, what questions do you have?
I guess it does get into the production element now that you have the keywords that you're looking for. How do you then weave that into descriptions or the content that you're producing? So how do you bridge the gap between what people are searching for and the content that you're producing?
Sure. So I will be getting into that. Can you still see my screen now? My keyword screen? Is it back? Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to create the content and like bridge the gap, that's why I pulled up what is called an AI writer. So I'm going to be getting into that in a second. But first, the thing to think about is what questions are people asking? So you see right here in the middle section, and everybody, if you want to see the live screen, Paul on Clubhouse is my co-moderator. He can tell you where to find the live screen. It's at the top of my Twitter, on Twitter Spaces. Hey, everybody. If you have questions, like just look at the top of the Twitter, or join us in the Zoom. The way to talk to me directly is in the Zoom just by unmuting. And this is a workshop on how to build a website for your podcast and how to do the search engine optimization and create a lot of content for your website. You'll be wanting a podpage.com account, which is free. If you want the pro features, use Espree VIP to have free pro features for a month. And right now I'm using SEMrush for SEO audits. There's also Uber Suggest. Again, Paul is in Clubhouse co-moderating, so if you have questions, you can ask him. So in the middle section, you see there's questions people are asking. These are gold, Liz. So you really want to be paying attention to like what questions are people asking on the internet that I can solve, right? And so we see how to get fit at home, of course, and 720 people are searching that approximately in the US per month. How to make a ring fit tighter at home. I don't know. How to make a home gym. There's so many things, you know, and you'll know what's like relevant to you and like what's not relevant to you. But this is where you find the questions, as well as this is one of my favorite sites, Answer the Public. So I'm going to type in home fitness, which is what your example was, in a website called answerthepublic.com. That's answerthepublic.com. And it's going to pull up. And again, I have so many screens open, so we'll just give it a second to populate. It's going to pull up these cool circles with a ton of data, but I usually just click on data. Again, Answer the Public does have a certain number of searches that you could do for free. I have a paid account and I love it. And then here are a bunch of questions that you could answer the public on your podcast. Which home fitness equipment is best? What is the best home fitness program? What is home fitness? And all these things can be your podcast title. They could be your blog post title. They can be in your show notes description. There's so many great topic ideas if you use the right tools like SEMrush or Answer the Public. Here's another one. Home fitness for beginners. So this is literally what people are searching right now that you want to create content for, right? Does that make sense so far, Liz? Okay, cool.
Yes.
So, hey, Maria. So the way to think about like, okay, Paul, is my screen share showing on the YouTube?
Let me switch over to YouTube from my other.
Yeah,
Let me let's see. And then just for some reason,
Yeah.
I've created my website, but where are you entering all this SEO? I had somebody else ask that as well.
Sure.
Or should I have entered that before I created the website? And yes, your screen is showing, at least the last time I checked.
Great.
Yes.
Perfect. So the SEO tools we are using, if you want a paid tool, it's semrush.com. You could access it right now and get, I think you get a certain number of searches for free as a trial. So definitely go to semrush.com. If you want a free forever tool, I think Uber Suggest gives you free forever for SEO. I'm not 100%. I personally use semrush.com. So that's semrush.com to do keyword research. I also use answerthepublic.com. To do deep dive keyword research, I use semrush.com. To get the majority of questions that people are asking on the internet about my keyword, I use answerthepublic.com. Does that help?
Yes, but I guess the question was, where are we entering this on our pod page?
Yes, we haven't gotten there yet. So we're just doing, yes.
We're just doing the research.
We're doing the research so we know what we're going to be entering.
So
Great question. Thank you for the clarification. Cool.
Yeah, of course.
And Paul, I'm going to leave my volume on so I could hear you because that seems to be working for us. So I'll do that. So if you have a question, just unmute and ask me. And thank you so much. Paul Vato's co-moderating the Clubhouse room. So much appreciation. And now, Paul, I see you in
Twitter.
the
Also.
Twitter space. So I appreciate you co-moderating everywhere. Paul Vato is amazing. Oh, this is what I was going to say before. Paul Vato is who keeps me plugged. I just approved you, Paul. Let me know if there was a glitch for some reason. Paul Vato is who tells me like what social apps are coming out right away. He is the person to follow if you're in the audio creator space and you're trying to figure out like what's coming out. I found out about Stereo from him and so many other social audio platforms because of Paul. So definitely Paul is a must follow if you want to be like up to date on what's going on in social audio. Paul, did that work on Twitter?
I see that there's still a request, but I'm using an older phone, my old iPhone 5.
Can-
So
I'm gonna cancel and then let's see. I'm gonna redo it. We'll see. I don't want to keep it.
No worries.
Yeah.
No worries.
I don't want to keep a lag too long because that's really boring.
Yeah.
And maybe request the cancel, Paul, and then I'll proactively invite you.
Got it. Let me do that. Okay.
Okay, and then I'm going, and then hold on. Everybody hold on. I'm just inviting Paul to, oh, there you are, Paul. Good, you popped up. Invite to co-host. Hopefully this will work. If it doesn't, it just is what it is. It's technology, and we'll just stick with it. I just invited you to co-host, Paul, so if it didn't work, it's a glitch and we'll just run without it.
No worries. I got you on Clubhouse. This is perfect.
Okay, cool. So yes, okay. So Liz, are you understanding Answer the Public, and are you understanding SEMrush? Are you getting the concept of what you should be searching for?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, Liz, envision this. I know you don't have a podcast yet, and it's totally okay for everybody who doesn't have a podcast yet to build this podcast website so you are prepared, because it's great for you to start blogging about your podcast and everything even before your podcast is live. So let's see. What you'd like to do is go to headliner.ai. I'm going to stop the screen share. And I'm going to show you this site. Let's see. How can I do this? Let's see. Headliner.ai. Then let me redo a screen share. All right, screen share. Okay. It's going to look like this. You go to headliner.ai. Right? So it looks like that. And you create a free account. So that's totally free. In headliner.ai, you will be able to transcribe all your podcast episodes for free. It's crazy. Like, it's awesome. Headliner.ai, you could transcribe all your podcast episodes for free. I'm not going to get into it because I want to reserve our time for website building. But what you're going to want to do, Liz, and I'm going to stop, I'm like bouncing around with the screen share, is you're going to want to transcribe your podcast episodes, and then you're going to want, and then there's two things that happen. Headliner.ai finds the intelligent bits of your podcast for you. And so like all the quotable parts, headliner.ai will find those. And then you could paste the smart bits into Jarvis. So conversion.ai, Jarvis, if you're a solo founder, a solo podcaster trying to figure out how do I create as much content as possible, writing AIs, like copy AI tools, are so dynamic. Here's your options. There's conversion.ai. It's also called Jarvis. There's copy.ai by someone who's really popular on Twitter that goes by Hey Blake. So if you go at Hey Blake, there's a new one that had an AppSumo deal called Pepper Type that supposedly is really close to Jarvis. They're all at different price points, so check out which one is best for you. I'm just going to show you kind of how these work. So you go into your long form assistant, right? And we'll just say we'll start from scratch. And now let's just picture, like we're just picturing in our head, right, that we transcribed our podcast episode using headliner.ai. And again, all of this so far is before we're even getting to the podcast part, because we're just kind of like setting ourselves up for success. So we started doing keyword research, and for Liz, her keyword research was on home fitness, right? So we found out the keywords and how much search traffic they're getting for home fitness, what kind of questions they're going to be asked. We used SEMrush and Answer the Public to find out what questions are people asking on the internet. And then we optimized our episodes for those keywords, right? Then we transcribed our podcast episode utilizing headliner.ai. We copied, and the way we transcribed it is we just uploaded our audio file of our podcast. Then we copied the transcription or the quotable bits, right? And you're not seeing that on the screen. I'm just walking you through it. We copied the transcription or the quotable bits that the headliner AI found us. So all the smart quotes the headliner found us, or we took the full thing, whatever we prefer. And now we paste those things in to copy AI, to an AI writer, right? So I'm just going to type in home fitness to keep things simple. I'm going to choose a tone of voice. So let's just say the tone of voice is Joe Rogan. Since this is podcasting, we'll just choose that's the kind of tone of voice we're going for. And I'm just typing in home fitness in all of these just to keep it really simple. I'm going to choose long so we can see what it's really made of. And then I'm just doing Command J to see how Jarvis works. And now it is going, look at this. It's going to start writing a post that's not plagiarized or anything for us. What was that, Liz?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And if we want to go longer, Command J, and then it will continue writing for us. Now, of course, we want to read this after and make sure this is how we want it to sound. Well, I'm not reading it right now, but it is not plagiarized. You want to check just to be double safe, because this is like robots at the end of the day. You want to check in, I've used copy leaks before and stuff like this, but the idea is, look, I do everything I do to champion community. I have the Women in Tech podcast celebrating women in tech around the world to champion community. Do you know how hard that is to interview, to book, to do all these things? And like, I'm not Joe Rogan making $1 million a minute, right? So I have to figure out how to do this like all on my own. And so if there's this, like, if I'm featuring Liz on my podcast and I want to like really elevate Liz as much as possible, do I need to write like a custom post to elevate Liz? Like, no, I don't need to write a custom post. I could simply transcribe my podcast interview with Liz using Headliner AI, copy the lines that I really like, put it into an AI writer, and then create like really amazing, authentic content from that goes on to my podcast website and anywhere else that I'd like to have it, right? And so, so Liz, we're going to start getting into Podpage and building the website and utilizing everything we learned to put that in the website. But before we move forward, what questions do you have?
This is really cool. I mean, not just for transcribing from a podcast, but even if you just have a website, which I do, and can't keep up with the content creation for it. But a question I do have is, besides on your website, where else should you be posting this? And how do you make sure that when people do search on Google, that you're coming up as one of the results that people would click on, not like on the 100th page or something?
Sure. Great question. So you start by thinking about going back to the keyword research with SEMrush. You start about thinking about what can I rank for? And I want to get into Liz, and I want to do this with you as well, Tim, and anybody else in the Zoom right now. Just to preface it, we're on Twitter Spaces, Clubhouse, YouTube Live, and the actual Zoom. If you want to be in the active Zoom with us, go to lu.ma/podcast website -2. It's at the top of my Twitter profile, and it's also in the YouTube live chat. So you could join us in the Zoom. You're welcome to join us. Otherwise, you could watch live on youtube.com/Espree. That's youtube.com/Espree. And you could watch live there. This is a community service. The main tools we're building our podcast website in Podpage. That's podpage.com. So check out podpage.com. Use code Espree VIP so that you have Pro for free for a month, or just use the free account. But if you want to test out the Pro features, you could use Espree VIP to get that Pro account. So, and then we're utilizing SEMrush for SEO. We're using Answer the Public for SEO, and we're using Headliner.ai for transcriptions. And then there's a multitude of AI writers that you could try out. The sample that I'm using is called Jarvis. It's also URL conversion.ai. With going back to SEO, based on Liz's question, we have, you asked, how do I rank to the top? You really want to focus in, I always say have 1 to 3 primary keywords, and then have about like up to 10, like, so, number 4 to like 10, 7 of secondary keywords. And you just want to create as much content based on that. But I really believe in authentic, high value content. I don't believe in just like plastering BS on the internet. So just cultivate as much high value content as you can focused on those keywords. And then what you want to do is you want to see like what is being found for those keywords, what is ranking really well, right? So here we could see an article by Precore Fitness is ranking really high, an article by American Home Fitness, CNET, Self. These are things that you can already know that you're going to have a hard time competing against those, right? But if you choose something a little bit more easy, like American Home Fitness, like the competition is going to be a little bit less, where getting to the top of Google will be more achievable. Also, you want to look for keyword ideas that you may not have thought of in the related keywords, because maybe there's something like at home gym is 6.6. So maybe you were searching for the keyword home fitness, and let's just say home fitness was like 3,000, but if you change it to at home gym, all of a sudden it's 6,000. So you really want to be looking at the search volume. And then we're going to get into like a competitor site. Let's actually do that right now. Liz, who's a competitor in the home fitness space that maybe has a podcast? Do you happen to have a podcast website in mind of like someone in the fitness space? Or any podcast website, so people can get the idea. And feel free, everybody in the live chat and stuff, if you have stuff you want me to search, I could click around and take a little 15-second break at one point to check all the chats.
Yeah, so there's a podcast called Ali on the Run, ALI on the Run.
Oh, put it in the chat for me, if I could find
Sure.
the chat. All right. Yay, David, I'm so happy that you're happy. Yes. Oh, Tim, I'm so excited to get to your SEO. Ramya, that's totally okay that you're driving. I appreciate you listening in. Let me know if you're learning. David's just listening in. Perfect. Oh, do you have the URL though, Liz?
Oh, 1 second.
Sure. And not to Apple, to the website specifically. We want to look up the podcast website, so it's not Apple. NFT Now, can you send me the URL for that, Pilar? If the website for the podcast, not the Pilar, am I pronouncing your name right? I see you in the chat, so you can even like let me know there. And you're free to unmute. Okay, perfect. Pilar, it's been a while since we've connected, so it's really nice to see you on the screen. Okay, cool. AliOnTheRunBlog.com is what we're looking at. And if you'd like to see what we're looking at, go to youtube.com/Espree. That's youtube.com/Espree. I should probably post that on my Twitter, but I didn't, and that just is what it is. So, okay. Liz, can you see this screen? Okay, so you see we just put in Ali on the Run, and we can see that this site gets approximately 3,000, just under 3,000 searches for their organic traffic, mainly in the US, right? And here are the keywords they show up for. So is this a fitness podcast, or what kind of podcast is this?
I think it's someone who talks about running.
Okay.
A lot of podcasts.
So what you want to think about, right? And I'm going to click on view details, but I'm afraid. So everybody, warning that my computer may get slow. I apologize in advance, but I want to click on view details because I think this is important for everybody's learning opportunity. And again, everybody watching why this page is going, we're on Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, Zoom, and YouTube Live all at the same time. If you want to view only at youtube.com/Espree. If you want to join us in the Zoom, it's at the top of my Twitter, the link to join us and get an SEO audit for your podcast as well. And my screen's just going to take a minute because I have a million tabs plus Zoom open. And everybody in the Zoom, thank you for your patience. And I'll take the second while it's loading to also, maybe I'll stop the screen share for a second and that will speed it up loading. And I'll look at I'll look at your messages for a second as that's loading. So everybody go to pod page. I came from YouTube to share with friends and see the screen. Oh, thanks, Michael. Great seeing you. Yeah, and if anybody has questions in the YouTube live chat or anything, leave a comment in the video. And I see 14 of you are watching on the YouTube. So yeah, leave a comment in the video. I just want to be supportive, happy to help. And yeah, I'm super happy to help. This is like really fun and exciting for me to like help everybody. And okay, it loaded. So I'm going to go back to the screen share and then let me just check Clubhouse comments real quick. If anybody has questions on Clubhouse, Paul Vato is your person. And honestly, Paul Vato is your person on YouTube too. There's just a glitch and I can't invite Paul to co-host on Twitter Spaces for some reason, but Paul Vato is my co-captain today. Paul, I tried again the invite to speak rather than co-host. Maybe that worked, but again, I'm just going to leave it alone if it didn't. So I'm going to go back to the screen share now. So let's see, or am I in the screen share, Liz? No. Okay, cool. All right, we're back in the screen share. So now in the screen share, you can see we have all these websites, all these keywords for Ali on the Run blog, which is running podcast, I guess. I don't know it. This is Liz gave us the suggestion. And so I'm going to change the position of search volume. Oh no, actually the first thing I want to see is where the keywords are ranking for this quote unquote competitor, right? So I'm going to change the order because I want to see what this site is ranking at the top of the top for. And can everybody in the Zoom unmute for just a quick second and just let me know, is this so far helpful, great, anything you'd like improved, anything you'd like me to slow down? Everybody kind of unmute at the same time.
It's great. Fantastic.
Great.
Okay.
It's wonderful, Espree.
Yay! Oh my God. Okay. This makes me so happy because like, again, doing this in so many platforms at one time, I want to make sure I keep it fast paced, high value, and really like with a lot of information. And so this is really hard. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to Paul Vato helping me co-moderate. He really didn't have to do that. And it's really huge of you that you did. So I really appreciate it. Okay.
It's my pleasure. And Espree, let me just mention to the people on Clubhouse, DM me if you have any direct questions, and I can get them to Espree in our back channel. So please, if you guys have any questions, and I'll try to write stuff in my bio that Espree is putting out there. So thank you.
Perfect. And everybody on the Zoom, were you able to hear Paul's voice? I did that on purpose. Was that loud enough? Yeah, I see Liz shaking her head. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
It was okay.
Awesome. Thank you. And Elvis, so good to see you. Yay!
It's really the great thing about this. I think it really transcends just the specific topic at hand and can be so relevant for so many different things.
Yay! Awesome. Oh my God. I'm so happy to like give you guys love and that it's helping. I'm so happy. Okay, cool. Yay. Okay. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Can you believe the only place I'm not going live is Instagram Live, but it's Instagram Live always glitches for me. Okay. So, let's see. Hold on one second. Yeah, I don't think that's anything. Okay. I thought I had a question somewhere. Okay. So the running thing, remember I did the position. Oh, I'm going to redo the position again because what I'm looking at on Ali on the Run blog, again, this is a competitor that, or like, you know, a faux competitor that we're searching and we're seeing like, what keywords are they ranking for? Like, what are they known for? And I've been told that this is apparently like a running podcast. And so if it's a running podcast, what I think in my head, Liz, I think okay, I want to see the key terms related to running. If it's a running podcast, I'm not saying it has to be a running podcast, but let's assume it is. Like, I want to know the key terms I want to see key terms for running. I want to know the site Allie on the Run is ranking for things related to running. So now I'm going to scroll down, and you see the position here is 1, 2. These are where the position is in the US on Google, right? So of course the person's show name ranks right at the top. That's great. Then we see a Sarah Sellers blog. I imagine some of this stuff is like maybe interviews Meredith Kennedy, Bermuda Triangle, a podcast. I'm going, and now we're at number 3, and now oh, this is interesting for some reason. So look, in our research, and Allie, I don't know you out there, but I hope this is okay that I'm deep diving, and I hope this helps you too. 40 Days to Personal Revolution week 1 just went from position 15 to 4. So if you wanted to do some research, you would go to the Allie on the Run, and you would see what kind of content is this person creating that just made this key term go from position 15 to position 4 on Google. That's quite a significant jump. You could see a difference of 11, right? And that can kind of start to like educate you on how to form a relationship with search engine optimization. I'm going to go a little bit further. So now we're still on the first page of Google. We're seeing, I don't see anything to do with run yet. Nothing to do with run yet. I don't know if that's important to this person, but me thinking it's a running content, I would want to see. Oh, here's one, run blog. So that's as close as we've gotten so far. And I'm still running at 22 weeks pregnant. Number 5, that's at least related to running. But now the second thing I'm looking at when I'm looking at these is what's the search volume for the key terms. You see this column right here, and you see running at 22 weeks pregnant. 70 people search that a month in Google in the US, right? So that, like, imagine if the best case scenario is 1% of the search volume. That's going to lead you to close to nothing in terms of listenerships for your podcast. So you really want to, and we're going to get into the volume in just a second, but you really want to be doing the higher volume with least competition. Like, these little green bubbles means it's easier to have a chance to rank. Yellow is a little bit harder, than orange and red are super difficult. So you get the idea. And then you see position 6, but this person's ranking for a ton of different key terms, and you just want to ask yourself, if this was yours, am I ranking for the key terms that I want to be ranking for? Because I have looked up sites that are ranking for key terms that have nothing to do with what their content is about, because they're not doing SEO. They're not being mindful of it. They're not putting their key phrases in the images, in the titles, in anything. They're not doing anything. So, okay. So then, I'm just I was thinking, oh my God, do I have a meeting coming up? But no, I don't think so. And I have so many here. Let me just, everybody, I'm taking a 2-second break while you think that over. Paul, can you say something while I'm just making sure my meeting is pushed?
100%. But you know how difficult I find it to talk, Espree. But I'll do my best. So, everybody, you are listening to the wonderful Espree Devora. Just gracing us with so much time. This is such an amazing resource that we have here, because it would probably cost you a couple $1,000s or more to develop a website like this, because I know I've asked around for a variety of my businesses, and it's never inexpensive. So the knowledge that you are getting here is invaluable. So please follow Espree, and definitely, if you're a person in tech, if you're a woman in tech, if you're a person in LA in tech, she is the leader in this space. So please, by all means, make sure you give her a follow on Twitter, Instagram, all the websites. And the information here is invaluable, because you need a website in order to do your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul. Yeah, 100%. And the tools that we're using, and Paul is my co-captain today. If you have questions, look up Paul Vato on Twitter, look up Paul Vato on Clubhouse. Paul Vato would be the co-host right now, but there is a glitch on Twitter Spaces, so we can't make him the co-host there, but definitely message him. He is officially the co-captain of everything going on. If you want to join us live, just check out the top of my Twitter. The link is there. If you want to watch, youtube.com/Espree, youtube.com/Espree. Of course, I'd appreciate like a subscribe. I didn't even think of till I started doing this that you could watch it on youtube.live. But yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel because that would be amazing. That would just be absolutely amazing. Okay, so what we're doing right now, we're using podpage.com to build our website, which we're about to get into, but we wanted to do all the background work first of finding the right keywords to put into our website. How do we create the content for our website? And especially, how do we do this when we're just one person? It's so overwhelming. So we're looking at this blog called Ali on the Run blog, and it's supposedly a running blog. And we're looking at the position that they have on Google for certain key terms. And now we're going to look at this column here. And again, you could watch on youtube.com/Espree, youtube.com/Espree, or you could join us in the Zoom, which is at the top of my Twitter. And my socials linked in my Clubhouse bio if you're listening in on Clubhouse. So I'm going to sort. Oops. Now my screen's going to be a little bit, wait. Okay, my computer doesn't like me. I'm going to stop sharing in order to sort because it's taking up too much memory and it wants to close my whole computer down. So now I'm going to try again. I might have to refresh my screen. Okay, it's sorting. That saved the day. And while it's sorting, I am going to like look at the chat. Okay, perfect. And Pilar, thank you for the links. I'll check those out. Oh, Paul, can you share your Twitter, how to find you on Twitter out loud right now?
Absolutely. On Twitter, you can, my main account is Paul Vato, twitter.com/Paul Vato or at Paul Vato. I also, of course, have travel, Vato cigars, and bad Ray Yoga. I think from there you'll find them all.
Yeah, but do what's the main one? Because people on Zoom are asking how to find you on Twitter.
Paul Vato.
So PAULVATO on Twitter. Is that right, Paul?
That is 100% it. Cool. And of course, also on YouTube, because I am trying to build my YouTube presence. So thank you.
Yeah, and on YouTube too. Is it youtube.com/Paul Vato, Paul?
Yes,
okay.
It is.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, cool. So, and Paul is the co-captain today. So huge thanks to Paul. This would not be possible. This is barely possible me doing it. This is a complete experiment on Clubhouse. And let's just a little like useful intermission because we're all content creators here, learning how to create a podcast for our website. I'm going to stop the screen share for a second. The way that I'm doing this, I have my MacBook that has all the screens up with a Zoom. I used Luma, LU.MA to create the event, which created the Zoom for me automatically. And then I went live on YouTube. I'm using a blue snowball mic to pick up the audio from my iPad and from me, so it can pick up more of the room than just what's in front of my mouth. And it could also pick up when Paul's talking, so Zoom and the other platforms can hear. I am on my iPhone for Twitter Spaces, and I'm on my iPad for Clubhouse. So the things that I'm being mindful of as a moderator is, one, I deeply care about all of you. And so I want to make sure every single screen gains value, which is hard. This is literally me doing it and Paul volunteering his time to help me as much as possible. But he's not even plugged into like my ongoing. So he went out and searched like Twitter to get my links and to be helpful. He's like amazing right now. He totally didn't have to do this. So I have Paul helping me. I did experience a tech glitch where I cannot make Paul a co-host on Twitter Spaces. So understand when utilizing technology, these things happen. Like that's just the game of it. Like, you know, these things happen. And yeah, so that tells you a little bit. And I'm making sure that my Wi-Fi is great. I'm also making sure that I closed all my screens before starting. That was really important in doing this, that my screens were closed. And even with all my screens being closed, I still got a processing error that it almost wanted to close all my websites, which would have been really bad. But understand that when we're creating content, especially live, or even if it's not live, there's always going to be tech stuff, and we just have to deal with it. So again, for everybody who wants to kind of do something similar in this like experimental way, I have Twitter Spaces. I scheduled a tweet. I have Clubhouse. I scheduled an event on Clubhouse. I have my tabs open on my computer. I have Zoom, and I used Luma, lu.ma, to create the event. Speaking of, if you want to access the Zoom, lu.ma/podcast website -2 will take you straight to the Zoom right now. It's also at the top of my Twitter. And you could also look on YouTube Live, youtube.com. Sorry, you could see live on YouTube, youtube.com/Espree. That's youtube.com/Espree. And I was able to easily go live on YouTube through Zoom. If anybody has questions to how I'm doing this, let me know. But what I'm thinking about right now as a moderator is everybody being able to take action on everything, because people are coming and leaving all at different times. So I want to make sure everybody's as plugged in as possible and is able to take really high value action on what I'm sharing, so that they could have 10,000 listeners a month or more on their podcast. And you easily can do this having the right podcast website. The podcast website builder that we are using in order to make this happen is podpage.com. That's podpage.com. If you use the code Espree VIP on Podpage, you will be able to get Pro for free for a month. And you can see inside my dashboard, which we're going to be getting into in just a second. So I'm going to go back now to SEMrush, where we're doing the keyword research. We've talked about keyword research. We've talked about finding questions on the internet that people want answered in order to have our podcast found. We talked about AI writers. And so now we're going back to like Liz's question of like, okay, but how do I get to the top position of Google? And so Liz, you see here under volume, and you see all these different things that this podcast, Ali on the Run blog.com is ranking for. So these key terms, like, can you believe this person is ranking for Peloton tread? What a great effing keyword to be ranking for, right? That's like a power keyword. So like, you just want to make sure that even Peloton treadmill, apparently she must be, or I shouldn't assume it's a she, the person must be a Peloton influencer or something, or maybe do Peloton classes. I'm not sure. I'm making these assumptions. I'm curious, do you happen to know anything about this person, Liz?
I don't.
Okay. So you can see this is the kind of key terms that this person is ranking for. You can see the volume that they're ranking, and you can see the pages that are ranking for those key terms right there, right? This is a lot of information. I know this is new information. The other thing to be mindful of is, even though this person's ranking for the key term Peloton treadmill, which is amazing, they're ranking for this key term in position 60, which is like the page in Google. So this person would want to create even more content for Peloton treadmill to bump it up as much as possible. And you see these green indicators with the arrow up or the arrow down. That means the position in Google is changing up or down. And to me, it's like a video game where you want to be winning the competition. So you want to get that going up as much as possible and really be focusing on those key terms. So, so far, Liz, does that all make sense? And is it tangible? And what questions can I answer for you?
Yes, definitely. How often do you suggest putting out content or creating those articles to put out in order to increase the rankings?
Great question. Honestly, as much as possible, like as much as possible. I would really recommend, making your content flow so systematized that like you can pump out. That's why you want to transcribe your episodes and get like, it's so, just picture this, everybody. You upload your podcast audio file into Headliner. It gives you a headliner.ai. It gives you, let's say 10 to 15 smart quotables. Like it's AI finds it for you from your audio file. You can copy those quotables into your AI writer. And the example I was using was conversion.ai. And then it creates the post for you. You make sure to edit it and give it a read and make sure it looks the way you want it to look. And then you post it on your website. And the more you could get into that flow or even train a teammate, there's a great program called Acadium. I don't know if anybody's heard of Acadium. If you'd like a discount to Acadium, message me and I could give that to you. Acadium is marketing interns. And so you could even have someone from Acadium like supporting you, doing this for you, as long as you train them and you know what you're looking for. So I would think about like, how do I find the right support, but how do I get to know this process, like on lock first for myself? And then how do I train someone in a reliable way to then do this on my behalf? And then I'm overseeing the production. So even if you could have 5 posts coming out a day, as many as you could handle coming out a day, but what you want to do is like, I wouldn't have 5 posts on Twitter coming out a day. Like I wouldn't tweet 5 times, but I'm talking about your podcast website, right? So as much content as you could possibly have, the more content you have in your website, the more you are signaling to Google to be found. Does that help a little bit, Liz?
Definitely.
Cool. So now we're going to move over to Podpage. And then after we go through the Podpage and building our website, then we're going to take more SEO audits. So I'm really excited. So I'm going to go back to, and again, if anybody wants to watch, youtube.com/Espree for watching. And if you want to participate, it's in my first tweet, lu.ma /podcast website -2. So /podcast website -2. So I'm going to do the screen share again. Oh, and you know what? Before I move forward, what am I doing? Anybody in the Zoom right now have any questions or lost that you want me to answer? This is the perfect time to answer your questions. Just go ahead and unmute. There doesn't need to be any like order to it. I'll go down the list. David, any questions?
No, but this is fantastic. Espree.
Oh,
This is
yay! Awesome. I'm so happy you're here. Tim,
Thank you. I'm glad to be.
How about you, Tim?
Yeah, I have lots of questions, but I'm kind of just waiting my turn.
Okay, cool. Because we're going to spotlight you next. Ramya, any questions?
No questions as of now. Thank you.
Perfect. Pilar?
I'm good. This is amazing. I'm taking notes.
Yay! Oh my God, yes! You, any questions? Oh, you may not be. Luazi, any questions?
Hi, yeah, thank you so much. This is amazing. Just a quick question in terms of the Acadium link. Can you just talk a bit more about that? I'm more of a VC finance person. This is all new, but I'm loving it. Thank you.
Luazi, say it again, that you're more, you asked for
I come from more VC finance side of the world. So this is all brand new to me. And I'm just trying to get a sense. You mentioned something about Acadium and how you can link that in to get apprentices.
Yes, and I just put the link in the Zoom chat for everybody. If you want, it looks like I have $50 off if you want. So essentially it's a subscription service that's really like affordable, and you are able to get marketing specific interns. Here, I'll pull up the website actually so you could see. Hold on. Let me do that. Got to move all the screens around. And they focus on marketing interns. Okay, they focus on marketing interns, so you could hire a marketing intern from them, but it's an internship, right? So let's see, screen share this one, and
got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and then you could train. The whole point is to train them, but I'm showing you right now a really fluid way in order to create a lot of content for your podcast website. So you essentially just send them this YouTube video And but first do it yourself. I always believe in doing it yourself to really understand how it functions and how you want to work best as a company, and then you delegate, right? But it's really important that you don't, like, I believe in delegating to both people and to software. And so just the most important stuff that we need to do as the operator is we need to define what the funnel is. What is our process flow? What is our workflow? And when we don't take the time to map out our process flow, that's when we fail as leaders. And so that's our most important responsibility. And then we need to be able to effectively communicate that process flow and what's to happen at every single mark with our team. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You got it. And then we have Michelle. Any questions, Michelle?
No, I'm just so grateful that you're going through this. You're showing me features and software that I actually had that I have not been optimizing. So your workflow has been amazing and amazingly helpful. Thank you so much.
So happy. And then let's see, who do we, after Michelle, we have Elvis. Any questions, Elvis?
Good day. How are you?
Hi.
Thank you for an insightful class. I just recently started my Twitter Spaces. I'm on my 14th now.
Right.
And yesterday we did 250 listeners yesterday. And now people are looking for the recording and are recommending that I do podcasts now and stuff.
Right.
And I just joined this Zoom. So how can I get my content from Twitter, the old content, and start podcasting it?
Sure. So there is a way to have recordings on Twitter. There's a couple ways. I'm going to show you a great way. If you have, this is a PodTrack P4, right? And a mic. And this allows me, can you see this, by the way?
Yes, I can see it. I think, yes, I can see it.
And this allows me to plug in my phone underneath, well, it doesn't matter. No, I plug in my phone on the side. And then I can plug in my phone and record my phone with high quality audio that way. If you want to record a Clubhouse space, headliner.ai actually automatically can record your Clubhouse space. If you're doing a public podcast, you could put your event URL in headliner.ai, and then it will start recording your public room right at the start of your event. So that's a way to record that. And then you got to connect with the Twitter Spaces team to see if they're going to be offering recordings. But definitely shoot me an email because there's tons of other options too. My email is espree@hey.com. That's ESP. Actually, you know what's easier in this kind of situation is just to shoot me a Twitter DM probably. So shoot me a Twitter DM. Are you on Twitter?
Yes, I'm on Twitter at Lord Advo.
Okay.
I'll shoot you a DM just now.
Yeah, Twitter, Clubhouse. Anybody that wants to contact me, Clubhouse, it's at Espree. On Twitter, at Espree Devora. I know I haven't even said that once. If you want to like ask questions or anything, now I'm not going to look during this right now because that's just way too much. But if you have a question, and there's a few other options too for you, which I'm happy to share that way. Cool. And then let's see. There was one more question. If I could learn how to work. Am I still screen sharing? Oh no, it's up here. Anjawa, hi. What question do you have? Or do you have any question? Okay, we'll bounce over to Brian. Brian, any question? And Brian, welcome to the Zoom. Okay, it looks like no questions over there. So we're going to go back, and now we're going to be going into Podpage. So we want to be going into podpage.com now to create our podcast website. So I'm going to pull up that screen, and then after we're building the podcast website, we're going to go back to doing more SEO audits for the podcast. And next up is Tim. And so, Liz, since you're kind of my go-to to know if my screen's working, can you see my pod page?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then if anybody wants to watch, it's youtube.com/Espree on YouTube right now. If you want to participate, it's at the top of my Twitter. The link is there, or go to lu.ma/podcast website -2. My co-host today is Paul Vato. He is amazing. He's helping me man Twitter. Oh, it looks like you've been made speaker finally, Paul, on Twitter. So that worked. So he's on the Twitter space right now. He's on the Clubhouse. If you have any questions, I am not looking at the chats as much as I'd like to. I will be looking at all the chats after, but right now my attention is focused on just sharing everything that I know on the back end with you, so you could leave with some really actionable tips. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask live, join the Zoom. That's where that could happen. I think I'm going to take a 15-second break. Actually, stop sharing for a second. Paul, you want to jump in and talk for a little bit while I just check the chats real quick for a little 15-second intermission?
You got it, boss. This is fantastic. I love this. I'm like, just being on all the platforms is unbelievable, the time and age that we live in. But thank you, folks, for being here. If you guys do have any questions for Espree and you're not over either on YouTube or Twitter Spaces, you can just DM me, and then I can DM her any of your questions. So I hope that you guys are getting value from all of this, because I know I sure am, because I have a podcast that I'm just launching, but no website for it. I almost didn't realize the importance of having a website and being able to be found, but that is the key. So if you guys have any questions specifically for Espree, I'd be more than happy to get them to her. Or of course, you can also, not to send anyone away from this wonderful platform, but you can also find her on Twitter Spaces. You can find her on her YouTube Live, and it's all either Espree or Espree Devora. So please give her a follow. And she's a wealth of information. She's the one that motivated me to get into podcasting, because she made this generous offer back in the day on Twitter for a 15-minute call just to go over your goals as a podcaster, and she was part of the impetus and the motivation for me to start podcasting. So
amazing.
Definitely follow her. Yeah, thank you. Definitely follow Espree on all of her Twitters and everything. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. Paul is an amazing co-captain. Follow Paul on Twitter at Paul Vato, on Clubhouse. I saw Mike just joined in on Clubhouse. Mike, I so appreciate you. You're awesome. Your support is so energizing. Donya, thank you so much for the sweet message on Clubhouse. I actually don't have an affiliate link to SEMrush. I probably should. I didn't come here like trying to like affiliate. I just want to like love. I probably should have that all, but yeah, I don't. Maybe I'll look into it after, but I'll keep you posted. And then Amanda, I sent you the YouTube link. Anybody else looking for the YouTube link? It's youtube.com/Espree to watch live. That's youtube.com/Espree to watch live. I should probably post that on my Twitter, but that would be one too many things. And then we're on the Zoom. If you want to join us on the Zoom, that's lu.ma/podcast website -2. That's lu.ma/podcast website -2. Am I the worst? It's at the top of my Twitter. So now we're getting into the podcast website. I just want to look at the Zoom chat real quick. Cool, Lawsy. I'm glad that helped. And then there's a bunch of other messages that I can't read at the moment in the Zoom, but I promise you I will before I totally log off. And now we're going to go to building the website. And so we have such a great community on the Zoom right now. And I see all of you watching on the YouTube, which is really exciting. So I am going to screen share again, back and forth. And now you could see, Liz, am I good? Okay, cool. So this is Pod Page. So I'm building, actually, I should have probably pulled it up. Oh, here, hold on. Let me pull up so you all can see what is possible at the end. Okay, cool. And I just want to give another shout out to Paul Votto for being my co-captain today. He's volunteering his time and he is so generous to do so. And this is very difficult to do this experiment, being on multiple platforms all at the same time and adding value consistently. And I would not be able to do it without Paul. So definitely follow him on both Clubhouse and Twitter at Paul Votto, Paulvato. So, and on YouTube as well, youtube.com/Paul Votto. So you can see an example of a pod page website. Now I'm still building out my website, but here's an example of what's possible. And here's what's crazy cool. So here's some things that are like, that I'm still working on. For example, you should never have this many tabs at the top. You should never have things on 2 lines. This is like a work in progress, but I just want you to see like what's possible. So you could add the features. You could add video. It pulls in your podcast auto magically. It's SEO optimized. It like the founder has done it all for us. And I'm going to get into the back end in just a second, but there are so many amazing features. Let's see, if you go to, Liz, go for it. Oh, I thought you had. What was that, Liz?
No, go ahead. I didn't say anything.
If it has a question on the Zoom, can interrupt me at any time, unmute with your question. That's 100% okay. And so another thing that is a limitation of using Podpage that is totally fine by me is over here, you see how it's black on the background and the word episodes is there? Well, I want to make, like my end goal for my own website as I'm moving from WordPress to Podpage is I want to make it like really dynamic and sexy. And this just like doesn't work for me. It can work for you, but for me, it doesn't. And so I've been playing with stuff. What you're about to see sucks. Like this sucks, but this is me utilizing Canva to try to like figure out how to make the top banner part look good. Literally, that's about the only limitation with Podpage is this top part. We're going to get into all the robust features, but this is the only part that I'm like, man, because I'm not a designer. So I use Canva. Those of you who don't know Canva, it's it's C-A-N-V-A. I believe it's canva.com, CANVA.com. And you could, essentially it makes you a designer without being a designer. It's the most amazing tool ever. However, I still need to figure out like what looks good and spacing. So I just keep uploading files and seeing it. So this is something that I'm working on to get to. But you want it to be clean. You never want text to like be lost overlapping an image and stuff like that. So this is the only drawback of this. Everything else is amazing. Rating the show. Amazing that Podpage makes it possible for you to easily rate a show. Like your listeners can easily rate a show now. You can have announcements at the top, right? People could donate to you. People could listen to your podcast. You could have your social links. Again, this isn't an example of what it looks like done. I too am moving everything from WordPress to Podpage. And as I've been building, I'm like, what? WTF, this is so amazing and easy, and they SEO optimized everything. And that's the biggest thing, is that so many of these companies don't give attention to SEO, and then we're left not being found in Google. And you saw when I did the whole SEO rundown how important it is for us to be found in Google. So now let's go over to the actual back end of Podpage so you can see the glory. So first of all, the founder, Brendan, is like the nicest guy ever. Again, use Espree VIP to get a free month. He gifted us a free month of Pro. You could also use the free level. If it doesn't ask to charge you, that's great, but have that code handy to the side. So if something does pop up, you can save the day and not be charged, right? That code also works if you wanted to get an annual plan. I think it gets you like $25 off the annual plan. But like if you want the free month, like then that's the free month, there you go, of Pro. But so you can see what the Pro features are. So, okay, on dashboard, you can see the recent episodes, you can see the website content, you have different things, reviews, videos, you could showcase videos from your YouTube channel. Look how easy this is, right? If you're a YouTuber, you click on that, and sorry for my internet with all the things, and you could, I did this yesterday, you guys, yesterday, it's in beta. All I had to do was put youtube.com/WeAreLATech, and then it just imported all my videos for me. That's it. That's how easy it is. Blog, all blog post categories. Like say you want to categorize, like for me with my Women in Tech podcast, I probably want to categorize by either their roles or their industry. So I could create categories for my podcast. And I'm using this for all my podcasts. So you want to create, and when you're thinking about categories, that's where your SEO research comes in really important too. You want your categories to be high searched words in the internet, right? And you find that out by doing your SEO research, right? So you could add, and then in the website part, you have the page designer, right? You could add a custom URL. Everybody should have their .com or whatever it is that they have. You could have the hosts of your podcast. You could have podcast player links. So that means wherever someone listens to the show. So I'll click on that. So you can see Apple, Spotify, Google, Overcast, right? So you have your player links. Let's go back here. You could have your social links. Now, also, Podpage has pretty redirects, which is great. Now, it does not have analytics yet. I do believe they're coming out with analytics, but say you want to connect with press and you just want to make something a little bit more like clean to look at, you could easily add any URL into here, and then it creates a pretty link for you. So use Hatch is this amazing editing service. They do a podcast audio editing, $500, high quality US based unlimited audio editing. And all I do if someone, like the Acadium thing I just shared, if I had that in here in 2 seconds, I could easily share. Or what else? Here, we could do this right now. You know how I keep having to say, oh, but I don't have my custom URL, but you'll see an example. So say I had WeAreLATech.com and I wanted to do the event right now, right? That I keep not knowing. And you know how this is where you could reach us live on the Zoom, right? So we have that, right? And you know how I keep having to spell this out and this really funky lu.ma/podcast website -2. Imagine if I just had my .com/event and just like that, I don't need, oops, I didn't put the www or the HTTP or let's see, hold on. I'm doing this wrong. I just need to pull up HTTP. I'm afraid of opening screens. Let's see. Did I do it right that time? Yeah. So look at how easy that is. I could have easily had that my .com redirect to this funky thing in 2 seconds, right? And so that, right? So let's go. So we have the pretty links. We have analytics for our website, search engine optimization. Yes. So this is where all our keyword research comes into play. And we could tweak this as much as we like. We could tweak the descriptions. We could tweak, and they give us the rundown of everything. Remember I said definitely add your custom domain. We could, here, social sharing, how we want things to be shared on social, customize meta tags, so important. Do you have all the keywords that you researched that are high volume in what's being shared on social in your SEO part, right? Do you have the right images that you want shared, right? So that, amazing. And then let's go 301 redirects. Okay. Huge deal. You may not know what this is. I do. So moving my podcast from WordPress to Podpage, I needed to be sure there were 301 redirect technology within Podpage in order to safely move my website without having any problematic challenges being found on Google. So you definitely want to use a system. Again, I trust Podpage that has 301 redirects if you're moving away from an existing website to a new platform, or else you lose all that great SEO and web traction that you had built up to. Okay, so we have the 301 redirects. I'm going to go back here. And then we have any custom code if you want to do the custom code for those of you who are more advanced. And then we have advanced settings. And so I'm going to click on advanced settings, see what's in there for everybody. And you can see a favicon. Favicon is what goes in the top of the URL part, the little image. You want to have the Apple Smart banner. So when someone's searching for their phone, and they're using Apple Podcast app, they could easily pull up your podcast, show social sharing buttons. You could hide things from search, like turn off and hide search across your website, or so you could either hide search, or people can search your website, which is amazing. They could search all the content on your website really easy. Do you know, to build stuff like that in, there's always so glitchy and things not working, and podpage.com has made it so easy for us. We could hide the Podpage branding with the pro level. That's why I want to do pro, but they do have a free level too if you just want to stay at free. So I'm going to go into episodes, listener tools, reviews. They have so much. They have a way to feature all of our guests, blog, all this stuff. And I'm going to walk into all of these as well, but I'm going to take a heartbeat to make sure, has everybody gone to podpage.com to create your podcast website account? That is what we're using right now. Podpage.com to create your podcast site. Code Espree VIP to get a free month of pro, so you can see all the features that I'm able to see. They also do have a free level, so you don't have to feel trapped into pro, but I particularly like the pro account. I'm a professional podcaster. I want to make sure that I have all the bells and whistles, and yeah, and then what I was using for SEO research was SEMrush and Answer the Public. And then what I was using to transcribe my podcast episodes was headliner.ai. That's headliner.ai. So right now, let's just make sure everybody on Clubhouse, on Twitter Spaces, on YouTube, and on Zoom has their podpage.com account set up, and you're able to follow along, and you're probably clicking around and setting up your podcast. Now, for everybody who currently has a podcast, all you need to do is enter in your podcast RSS right at the first page. You've probably already seen this, and it imports your entire podcast and creates the website for you. People who have already done this, who are listening in, especially on the Zoom, if you've already done this, go ahead and post your podcast link from Podpage in the chat so I could share it and people could see your podcast. So whether you've done it on Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, or YouTube or Zoom, post your Podpage link on one of those, and then I will share it so everybody could see your podcast. And I see your messages, Loisy. Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, the editing tool is usehatch.fm. That's usehatch.fm in order to have unlimited audio podcast editing that's high quality. David, thank you for the really sweet message. Yeah, this is awesome. I so appreciate everybody. So yeah, post it in the chat, and then I will look in the chat a little bit to show an example. And that is how you could get a little extra attention to your podcast. And perfect. Okay, cool. And then Paul, do you have your Podpage website?
I do. I'm looking for the link though.
Okay, cool. So when you have that, send it to me, and I'll post. I'll go with yours first. Cool. Cool. All right. So, and then let me just look at the YouTube real quick. I'll stop a screen share really quickly. Actually, as I do this, anybody on Zoom, go ahead and unmute and ask any questions that you may have. And then I'm looking at the thing. Everybody on YouTube, hello, looking at you right now. And if you have your Podpage website on YouTube, go ahead and post it in the chat so I have it and I can share it there. And on Zoom, any questions? So anybody go ahead if there's any questions on Zoom. And Tim, I know we're going with you next. And then, okay, and then I'm just gonna look at Clubhouse. Perfect. Cool. So Sequoia, I got your pod page. So I'm gonna type, Paul, I'm gonna do Sequoia's first because it's just in front of me. And then I'll do yours right after to see an example. So this is what Sequoia just built. I'm about to share the screen so everybody can see it. And as I just want to make sure I don't have typos and I could open things and there's no delay. For some reason, Sequoia, it's not coming up. Check if you made it go live. So it's not just the account, it's like the public URL. For it, I don't know if I typed it in wrong or if there's a typo, like, hold on, let me check. Maybe, oh, I think I have a typo. I think it's me, not you. Let's see. This is why I wanted to do it off the screen share. All right, yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, so, and Sequoia, am I pronouncing your name right? Hey, can we invite her up, Paul?
Yes. Where is?
I'm trying to do the same. You found her?
Oh, on Twitter. On Twitter?
No. On
Where's Sequoia?
Oh no. Never mind. She moved. So we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. It was on Clubhouse.
Sequoia.
And then after
Sequoia in Clubhouse.
Yeah, and then yes, of course. And then after Sequoia will what is the Zoom link? Where are you now? The Zoom link is here. It's at the Pamela, it's at the top of my Twitter. So here, I'll try to type it in here. I wish I could have a thing in Clubhouse that says I should have this. Let's see, hold on, everybody, as I'm like typing on a screen. Podcast. So what I'm typing is lu.ma/podcast website -2 is how you can find me on oh, she doesn't have Twitter. That makes sense. Is how you can find me on Zoom. So Pamela, let me know that worked for you. I'm glad I saw that. And then yeah. Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, okay. I'm going back, refocusing. Okay. So I'm going to show you this awesome website that Sequoia just sent. So I'm going to do a share. So excited. Okay. So she just did this right now. She just entered in her, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Sequoia, feel free to raise your hand if you're there so we can, oh, I said your name right. Yay. For some reason, I can't invite you up and I don't know why. I don't have that thing. So go ahead and raise your hand so Paul can invite you up. Oh, there you are. Okay, I got her, Paul. Okay, cool. Cool. Hi. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what your website is about?
Oh, so basically Blockers podcast is sort of, I don't really have a niche podcast. I just like to talk about different topics. So I'm in a tech field, so I talk about tech, music, social topics, dating, even politics. I just brush up on everything, and I interview different people. And they tell me their stories, and I just like to motivate people and let them, keep them inspired with entrepreneurship and spiritual influence. So, yeah.
That's so cool. I love how positive you are. Oh! Cool. First off, I love your cover art. If you're comfortable, will you share with everyone how you created your podcast cover art so to empower everybody how they could do the same?
So I basically went on Fiverr. I don't know if anyone has heard of Fiverr, but I use it all the time. So I go on Fiverr and I actually put in podcast art, and I saw so many different great freelancers, and I found one particular that did the cartoon feel, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. So I paid her it was like $10. That was it.
Totally. A little secret is one, I love Fiverr as well. And I have created so many things. I have a whole tool set. If you want it, Sequoia, message me later and I can send it to you. I have a whole tool set of Fiverr contractors that I've used for podcast production, from art to intros to music to editing to everything. Fiverr has been a game changer. So I'm so glad you brought Fiverr up.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that would help me. Please send me the tools.
Yeah, so if you can message me, because I'll look at it, later today or tomorrow, and then I'll make sure. And anybody else who wants that Fiverr toolkit of all the production people on Fiverr, just let me know. DM me wherever you are. Or maybe, no, that's not good because then I won't know where to look. DM me either on Clubhouse or on Twitter, and then I'll make sure to get that to you. Yeah, so if you want that package. So this is what she just created. So walk us through, how easy was it for you to create this?
Oh man, it was so easy. So I went, I came on like on the show a little late, and then I went to the website. All I had to do was put in my RSS feed, and it just automated all of my podcast episodes just like that. I was like, wow, this is pretty easy, because I have a website, blogwithpodcast.com, but this one, I like how the user interface is for it. So I think it's pretty simple.
Yay! Awesome. And you see, how long would you say you've invested in creating this, like literally just this page right now?
Oh man, I would say 3 minutes for me. I mean,
So,
but my mom always say I'm technical, but it wasn't technical. It didn't require any technical ability. It was really simple.
100%. So in 3 minutes, so everybody watching, you can see she got her podcast Blue Alchemist. You could go to podpage.com/blue-alchemist. Hey, Sequoia, are you on Twitter?
No, I'm not on Twitter right now, but I can go. Oh yeah, I do have a Twitter account.
Like, can you do a tweet so that we could about your page, or if you're comfortable, and then we could share it to the top of our Twitter Spaces so people can see it. If you want, you don't have to do that.
Oh yeah, I'll share it. It's fine.
Cool.
It's good kind of learn marketing for podcasting.
And Paul, on Twitter, go ahead and mute yourself. Or I think I can maybe mute you. Oh, mute their mic. Okay, cool. I got you. I muted you. And then I think you unmuted you. Okay, that was my bad, Paul. Okay, cool. Yeah. So if you want, and then Paul can go ahead and he could share it to the top so everybody can see the example we're talking about. But audio wise, it's podpage.com/blue-alchemist. And I'll put it in the Zoom chat as well so everybody can see an example. So you could see right away in under 3 minutes with no technical experience, Sequoia was able to have, I mean, this looks gorgeous, Sequoia, an email opt-in form, the listening apps for listeners to connect, and look at all her episodes going down, beautifully clean at the bottom. This is in 3 minutes, everyone. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm such an evangelist for Podpage. And this is, you guys, let me just give you some background on why I care about this so much. I'm a WordPress person. I built the first action sports social network. I was like, I need to have WordPress in order to have good SEO. I can't leave WordPress. Even though I built the first action sports social network, I'm not a developer. I just know enough to break things. But I've been so stubborn staying with WordPress for so long because I'm like, I need to have that because I need to have the features. I need to have the plugins. I need to have this. But like things keep breaking, plugins conflict with one another. I have to learn about backups. I cannot focus on being a content creator because I'm so focused on being a developer when I'm not trying to be a professional developer. Let me show you guys an example of what I mean. So here's I just paid to have my website redone and it wasn't with WordPress. Like this is like a few months ago, right? So I just paid. I'm gonna share my screen in just a second. And so check this out. This is currently WordPress before I move over my primary domain over to Podpage and finish that all out. So check that it's loading. Let's see. Hold on. I'll share again, but the load is going to be so slow. Okay. So this is not a done website, but this was getting like they were working on it, getting close to it. But let me show you what I'm talking about when I'm like, are you kidding me? So check this out. WeAreLATech podcast. I'm going to click on that. Look at what happens. And I have no idea why. Look at what happens. Like, hold on. Look at that. No idea why. Like this is the stuff I don't have to deal with anymore using Podpage. With Podpage, I don't have to think about the tech. I don't want to think about the tech. I'm an artist. I'm a content creator. I don't want to think about technology. So for me, Podpage is that solution because Brendan, the founder, cares about SEO. He understands our pain points. And I'm going to get into the other features of Podpage, which have made me a complete evangelist. But Sequoia was able to build this website in 3 minutes that already looks beautiful. I mean, I think, Sequoia, you speak for yourself. You could contract me too if you don't agree.
No, I love it actually. I'm pretty happy about it because it actually looks better than the website that I have, the original website. It looks more intuitive, and So I'm going to switch my domain over to Podpage and use that.
Oh, great! Hey, Sequoia, would you feel comfortable if I type in your current website?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
What is it?
It's bluealchemistpodcast.com. And the only difference on there is I have merch. I do have merch on there.
I think this may allow for commerce too, but I'm not positive. But we'll look at the settings for you as well. So, and what was this built in?
WordPress.
So this is built in WordPress. And honestly, this looks really beautiful. Now, my own take is this looks really beautiful to me. Why do you want to move? Like, I'm actually surprised now looking at your site, you saying that, because this looks gorgeous.
No, I was testing it out and I was like, well, let me see what's more like intuitive, because like people were telling me they didn't know how to navigate my site, they couldn't buy the shirt and stuff, and I'm like, oh no, maybe it's not intuitive enough. I don't know.
Yeah. For like I showed you, for me, it's like on my podcast page in WordPress itself, all of a sudden my episodes aren't showing up. And I'm sure it's like some sort of conflict in plugin or an outdated plugin, but I just don't want to think about that anymore. On yours, it looks beautiful to me. This player looks beautiful and everything, but that you're even thinking about switching kind of just is like an indicator to me. Like, it's like, we want to be artists. We don't want to be tech people.
Yeah, I just don't. Like, I just want to leave the tech stuff at work and do the art stuff at night.
Yeah.
I just want to focus on that.
This is gorgeous, though. I love it. Tim, did you want to make a comment?
No, I'm just kind of waiting.
Okay, cool. No, I saw you unmute, so I wanted to be attentive. Okay, cool. So, okay, so now let's go back to Pod Page. And Sequoia, feel free to stay up with us, up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. And thank you for sharing your experience. And I also want to pull up Paul's, actually, before I lose track. So Paul, let's just do that. Paul's is, let's see, Pod Page. Oh, Pod. Here, let me make this faster. Pod, let's see.
I created a bit.ly link already as well.
Oh,
so,
you.
And I can't tell how good it looks just because I'm only on my phone.
Can you share it with everyone?
Yes.
The URL?
So the URL, I think that the easiest way will be bit.ly. So B as in boy, IT as in Tom, .ly / Paul Vato presents. Capital P, capital V, and capital P in Paul Vato presents.
Cool. Now I'm going to do a screen share here.
Oh, I should go over to YouTube and see how that looks. But then I'm going to have audio issues because my laptop is down. If anyone has an extra MacBook Pro or Air, whatever,
you'll take them all.
Yeah. If it's free, I'll take whatever. I'm sorry, not free. If it's complimentary, I'll take whatever. If you're selling it, reach out because. But then again, I've got content this week because I'm gonna see if I can replace my own keyboard and save $300.
Paul, table that thought. Everybody listening, Paul is my co-captain today for my this podcast website workshop that I'm doing for the community, and talking about how I am moving my websites from WordPress to Podpage because I really believe in the power of Podpage. And I showed you how to do podcast search engine optimization. We're using all that search engine optimization research and content in order to power our websites. The websites being shown right now were built in under 1 minute. Tim's saying, not okay. Tim, I don't, not a podcast. Yeah, I don't, that's not related to Podpage though, right? Oh, you're just writing notes. Okay, no problem. And these are sites that were built in 1 minute. If you're on Twitter Spaces, or if you are on Clubhouse or anywhere that you are, Paul Vato at Paul Vato, PAULVATO. You can see his name right on the screen. I will go ahead and share again. So now it's sharing again. So this is Paul Vato. You can search him anywhere on social, and that he is my co-pilot today, making it possible for me to empower you to have an SEO optimized website for your podcast. I want everybody here to leave with a website for their podcast. And yeah, this is really great. My name is Espree Devora, but you probably know me. If you want to watch live, but you don't want to participate, just go to youtube.com/Espree. Also, Paul has a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Paul Vato. If you want to participate with us, that's on Zoom, and it's lu.ma/podcast website -2, which is also at the top of my Twitter. The link is at the top of my Twitter. And so you can join on Twitter Spaces, on Clubhouse, on YouTube, in the Zoom. I made everything possible to empower as many people as possible to have a podcast website. Okay, so Paul, we're on your website. And I see now, tell me, did you, and you have your thing here, so you're playing with the features. How was the experience for you so far?
It was flawless. Are you kidding me? I mean, like I said, literally in under 3 minutes. What the easiest way is I plugged in my RSS feed. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I plugged in my RSS feed. And it just like populated everything that's already coming from Anchor, because I'm using Anchor right now, which I might switch. But yeah, it was effortless. And again, I didn't realize the importance of having a website. So I'm going to go over to paulvato.com and then just lead people right to the website, right, Espree? I mean, instead of leading them to Anchor, I should just lead them to my website.
Great question, Paul. I'm so glad you actually asked that. So a lot of people link to their Apple podcast. I love Apple. Apple, I love you. But they link to their Apple URL on their websites. No, do not do that. Like, it's okay to have it like this, but make sure when you're sending people a link to your podcast, you're sending them your.com and you're creating a relationship with them through like email capture. So if you're just sending people directly in your like Twitter profile or your Clubhouse profile or wherever you may have that link to straight to your Apple podcast page, imagine like I use different players to listen to my podcast. So all of a sudden you've like limited someone. The other day I wanted to listen to someone's episode and they sent me an Apple URL, and now I didn't use it on the particular device I was using, right? And so now I need to type in manually the name of the show and try. It just makes it really hard for me as a listener to listen. And so you want to have a really easy, whether someone's listening on Spotify, whether they're listening on Apple, whether they're listening on Google or Overcast or Caster or Pocket Cast, like all the things, you want to make it possible. And these things here, you can enable the ones you want to enable. So these are the ones like Paul quickly enabled, or maybe they're the default set, but we can go into the back end and put more there. So this is great. Hey, Mike's in the Zoom. I love seeing you, Mike. You make me so happy. Cool. So this is what Paul was able to do in 1 minute, and now he could go on the back end, what we're about to do again, and customize features. Thank you, Paul, for sharing your website, and thank you for volunteering your time to co-host today. And please, if you need to go, Paul, I know you're totally contributing your time. Please don't feel stuck. Like, just let me know. But I appreciate it. And Amber, I see you. Like, so good to see your face. So everybody, again, Paul Vato is the co-host today. This is a workshop to build your podcast website. I'm already 30 minutes over what I had planned on. I was supposed to have a meeting in 5 minutes, but I messaged them. I have to check my DM to make sure it's okay that I speak with them later. But what the plan is to go more into the back end on Podpage right now in all the features and what is to your availability to improve your guest flow. They have amazing features to improve your guest flow, to be found more on Google, which I'm going to get into even more than I've even just said. And as well as our next SEO audit is with Tim. So I'd like to be doing that too. I'm pretty sure my meeting can move it, but you know what? Let me just check that right now while we're in the intermission. And if anybody has questions, feel free to unmute yourself. Hold on. Yes, definitely going over. Hopefully we can sync after. Okay. All right, cool. Awesome. All right. And I don't think I've really introduced myself once. My name is Espree Devora. I've been a podcaster since 2013, and I've produced over probably over 1,000. I used to say over 700 because that's the last time like I did an audit on my own catalog. But by this point, like I'm well over 1,000 episodes. But to me, podcasting is an art form. I call it painting audio. I absolutely love it. I use podcasting to champion community. My podcasts are womenintech.fm. WeAreLATech.fm. I'm coming out with a new podcast called Brag, and that's called Business Women businesswomen reaching awe-inspiring greatness. And I'm not going to get into much about my podcast right now because it's really about building a podcast website for you. But I just really love podcasting. I've been part of the podcasting community forever, and I love empowering people to be able to utilize podcasting the way I have to celebrate others. And so that's how we do that. Like when I have a podcast guest, like you can see in my back, and Aiden Gold is one of the kindest, nicest people. He worked in med tech, and like I completely would love to do anything possible to elevate Aiden Gold further. But in order to be able to do that, I need to know the tools that exist in order to empower me to focus on being a content creator, not being a tech web developer, right? And so Podpage enables me to do that. So now we're moving down the screen. So we were on website. So we looked at all the features for website. Again, go to podpage.com to create your podcast website. You could create it in under a couple minutes, and you utilize your RSS in order to populate the website. If you don't have a podcast yet, that's 100% fine. You can still go ahead to podpage.com and create your podcast website for when you do have it, and just be blogging in the beginning. Cool. So let's see, listener tools. So you could see, you could have an email capture, you could have a contact form. This is a big one. You could have voicemail. Do you know how hard it is to get like all in one central place, listeners to be able to leave you a voicemail, and as an operator of that content, to be able to organize that with ease, to be able to transcribe those voicemails in order to create even more content? Remember how I talked about creating content and putting that content into an AI writer to create full blog posts over it? You could do that with voicemails. Continue to celebrate people that way, right? So Podpage gives you the voicemail feature. Let's click on it to see like what that looks like to set it up, right? So if I wanted to set up a voicemail right now, it says inbox at ND, I could go to settings, and then you see show voicemail widget. Just click on that button in corner. If you're choosing a tab, you can customize the text. So here's the default to send a voicemail. You could have a welcome message. Like, look how easy Podpage has made everything. You could have send and review and what's required. You could have a disclaimer message. You could have a pop-up confirmation. You don't have to be a developer using Podpage, and you could be the most epic podcaster ever. There's the people that I respect most in the tech industry. Kevin Rose uses Podpage for his podcast. Here, I'll pull that up right now so you can see like an end result. Like, hold on one second. I stopped sharing the screen because it slows down everything, and I just want pages to load faster for everyone. Let's see, podcast. See if I could find it fast. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Sorry, everyone, looking as fast as possible. Okay, I cannot find it as fast as I wanted it to find it, but you could just trust me. If you Google Kevin Rose podcast, I'm sure if you I'll find the page, because what Kevin Rose, oh, there it is. I must have had a typo in what I was typing. So what Kevin did is he integrated, okay, I'm going to screen share again. Thank goodness I went live on YouTube so everybody could access. I wasn't planning on that literally until late last night. So what Kevin did is, I wonder if this is Matt Walker that I know from, probably not. I know Matt Walker in WeAreLATech. He's really nice. So what Kevin did is he integrated his website, his pod page into his website. And so if you click on other areas of his website, like if you went to his .com, here, I'll do this real quick. And if I get broken things, it's not on me. Like if I type things wrong okay. So this is his website, right? This is just his normal website, not a pod page, at least not that I know of. I don't think this is pod page. And then he used pod page within his main website to create his podcast content right here. So you don't have to take over like Sequoia. If you wanted just to have your podcast part of your website be integrated into your WordPress, you can do that too. I particularly don't want to do that because I don't want to deal with WordPress stuff anymore in general. But like if you wanted to, you totally could. Like that's an option. So So, so he has the rate show, he has the reviews, he has the episodes, he has the social. You can follow, like, you know, he has the players, he has the email capture, he has the things on the right with like little snippets on what his episodes are, all based, remember, on the categories that we talked about. Again, if you're not looking right now at my screen, podcast.kevinrose.com is what I'm looking at, podcast.kevinrose.com, or you could go to youtube.com/Espree to see my screen share. If you want to join us on Zoom, that's right at the top of my Twitter. The link is there. You could join us live on the Zoom. And you can even see he even has his tweets incorporated into here via an embed, right? So it's like, there's so much possibility. Reviews at the bottom. So Kevin Rose, one of the people I admire most in the tech industry, uses Podpage too. Okay, so now we're going back to the back end of Podpage. So you saw you have the voicemail widget. You could favorite, inbox. I mean, just taking care of all of the amazing things. Commenting, like if you want commenting, like on your site, you could integrate Facebook comments. You could do a discuss, which used to be what everybody used to use. You could have comments on your website. If you want to integrate your reviews, you could have all the reviews. You could have on-site reviews. They make it so easy for you to be able to have your reviews right away, to import them straight from Apple Podcasts, to import them from Podchaser. I mean, they just make everything so simple. You don't have to think about anything, right? Monetization. Everybody's always talking about monetization. So they make it possible for you to have sponsors, donations, or memberships to your podcast. Oh, and there you go. Look at that, Sequoia storefront. So you could look at, let's click on that for Sequoia, right? If you wanted to have like a storefront, you could add a product here. You could redirect it to an external store. So maybe if you have a Spotify or something you want, or a Gumroad or Teespring, you want to redirect it there. But look, or you could just have it within Podpage. They also have, like I said, sponsors. So like if you have a sponsor and you want to add your sponsor there, it's a great way to feature your sponsor. Donations and memberships. If you wanted to create memberships for podcast listeners, make it super easy. I mean, taking all the tech out of it. I could go in and click on all this much more, but I'm sure you could do the clicking around. You get the idea. I just want you to know the concepts. And I also want to make space to do Tim's SEO audit. He has been patiently waiting for, I believe, about 2 hours now. So I appreciate you, Tim. And I hope you're learning a lot in the journey. Tim, how are you feeling in general?
Good. Answer the Crowd was a great site.
Answer the
that
Public.
really helped early on.
Awesome. Answerthepublic.com. Awesome. So then we have the blog. Now, this is like gold. I know some people may think blogging, isn't that so like yesterday? No, blogging is everything. And if you have a WordPress site where you want to bring in everything from your old blog post, you could take our RSS feed and you could simply import all your old content into here, right? So there, you could do it that way, but you want to be utilizing blogging and really utilizing your keywords and creating posts based around your keywords in order to be found on Google. So definitely like take advantage of this blogging section. Make sure you're transcribing all your episodes. Remember, I talked about transcribing using headliner.ai. Transcribe your episodes, copy the transcriptions, put them, edit it, clean them up, put them as a blog post, or copy pieces of the transcriptions with Headliner AI that finds you the quotable parts of your audio file, and then take those, put those into an AI writer and make a ton of blog content out of nowhere. If you have any questions on this, let me know. DM me on Clubhouse, DM me on Twitter. Twitter's preferable. It won't be instantaneous that I can get back to you. I'm doing all of this for free. So just as soon as I get back, I will. And then remember the categories, you want to optimize your categories for your keywords. So that as well. Okay. Now we have videos. This is a cool new beta thing I talked about a little bit earlier, where you could import your entire YouTube channel into Podpage. Again, all automated. Amazing. Having video, even if you're an audio first podcast like I am, like repurposing your content into YouTube is so important. You really want to repurpose your content into YouTube too, to be found by the search engines, because at the end of the day, and I'm sure you've heard this in many webinars, seminars, talks, like YouTube is a search engine. It's the second largest search engine. So be sure that you are optimizing your podcast episodes for the search engine, and a great way to do that is YouTube, right? Social posting. So we talked about this a little bit, like make sure that you're connected in the way that you want to be connected so that you could auto post on the social networks if you want to auto post. I particularly don't auto post. I just like to create like really thoughtful content and not do it that way. But that's also a strategy too. So you could totally auto post. Look, you could even auto post new reviews that you get onto Twitter and Facebook. I mean, really, they superpower you. Integrations. So here are some of the sites that Podpage integrates with: Apple Podcast Reviews, Active Campaign, the Apple Podcast Smart Banners. So if somebody's searching on mobile, Aweber for email marketing, Constant Contact for email marketing. They have Buy Me a Coffee widget overlay where people could buy you a coffee. ConvertKit, which everybody talks about, ConvertKit. Facebook, it just goes on and on. LinkedIn, and like, I mean, just amazing. By the way, great guy in LinkedIn talked about the importance of doing LinkedIn events, which is a whole thing I won't get into. But LinkedIn is a great thing to connect with. Supercast, one of my favorite companies to do a private podcast. They integrate with them if you're looking to have a private podcast. Twitter, right? And they're constantly building. Even if you already were using SpeakPipe, SpeakPipe is great in order to get recordings from your listeners, right? The next up, we're going to go to labs. I think I'm going to take a 15-second intermission. Anybody on Zoom, unmute right now if you have an immediate question. Happy to answer. I see there's some stuff in the chat too. Just go ahead and unmute if you do. If I don't hear from anybody, I'll just keep on going.
I had a question about the page on the episodes. Can you use a different image for each of the podcast episodes? Because I built my own pod page just quickly while we were doing this.
Yeah.
And so you upload an image and it shows that image every time.
Yes.
I just think that's kind of tedious for a user. Could you use a different one that is cogent to that particular podcast episode?
Yes. So two ways to do that. Tim, one thing also on the podcast episode thing, you could have an episode signature. And I want to get into guest profiles and guest intake forms because that's really, really huge. That's such a great question, Tim. So there's two ways to do that. One, you see I have different images. We're uploading these custom images into our main host, which for me is Simplecast. So you want to have your custom episode art uploaded into your host. If you don't, then you simply go into the editing feature and you upload the image you want into Podpage. I particularly think it's best to do it at the source, at the host, and then Podpage will import that image. Does that help?
Yeah, I'm always confused about the jargon. I'm using Blueberry. Is Blueberry the source for my audio media files? Because that's where I actually had them. So I would do it over there, huh?
Yes. So Blueberry, Simplecast, Transistor, Libsyn, Anchor, Buzzsprout, these are all podcast hosting platforms. They're who house your RSS file of your audio podcast in order to distribute everywhere else, Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and all other players, as well as Podpage. So like the source, your RSS is housed in podcast hosting. I use Simplecast. There's Simplecast, Transistor, Libsyn, Buzzsprout, Anchor, Blueberry. Yeah. Tim, does that make sense?
Yeah, I just got to figure out how to do it because I'm not using this particular pod page, but I may make a switch. We'll see.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so episodes. So we have guest profiles, which is huge to me because, again, I'm all about championing community. And so how great is it that I could have all the guests that I interview and people could search the different guests on my website so easy. Just click on new guest. And I could write it all in. And then later, I believe, like once I have everything set up, things become automated, but I haven't gotten that far. But you can see even manually, I just enter in all this stuff. And then all of a sudden my podcast becomes this like amazing resource center for everybody trying to learn more about my podcast guests, right? We also have guest intake form, which is super huge. So you probably have some sort of scheduling tool, or you should have a scheduling tool. I use Calendly in order to set up my podcast interviews. And with the scheduling tool, you set up the podcast interviews, but you want to make sure there's a guest intake form. And even here, like, look, you have a scheduling form. So now if you don't even want to have an outside tool like Calendly, you can have this, send this as a schedule link. And then this has a guest release form. It has a confirmation message. It has additional questions. It has everything you could possibly need to have a really, guest agreement and release, social media links that you may need in order to make the show notes more relevant photo. So now the guest is entering in all the hard work, so you don't have to be doing that extra admin. So this is just so huge. And then you just copy the link and then you send it to people, and that's how you schedule people. Here's the scheduling form. You could put the scheduling. Look, once the guest fills out the intake form, ask them to book a time with you using an external link. Oh, look. So yeah, you just put your Calendly link in there, right? But it takes them through the whole process of the guest agreement, release, the social media links, the photo, the bio, like all the things. So it's just amazing. All right, now we're going to labs. And so everybody just joining, this is a podcast website workshop that I am doing to serve the community. We are simulcasting on Twitter Spaces, on Clubhouse, on Zoom, and on YouTube Live. In order to join us, go to lu.ma/podcast website -2. Also, look at the top of my Twitter. The link is there. To watch in but not join the actual Zoom, go to youtube.com/Espree. That's youtube.com/Espree. Before I go to labs, I'm going to take 15 seconds just to check quickly messages. Mine populated the different images from each episode. Oh, Pamela, can you give me the link in Zoom real quick so I could just share that with everyone so Tim can see as well? Great, Pamela, I'm glad. And then I'm just going to check the YouTube as well. Let's click. This is going to be like some meta stuff. So I'm looking at the site. Oh, I'm so glad, Podcast Father, that it's helping. Jared, you are amazing. Yay, Jocelyn, so glad you're here from Twitter. Tristan, hi, I see you guys watching. This is so great. I'm so happy to see everybody. All right, cool. And then, yeah, Pamela, if you could put it in the Zoom chat, that would help. And then I'm just going to check the messages everywhere else. Sequoia says she really likes Pod Page. Yeah, so I think that was an older message. And then Richard, I'll get that to you, Richard. Anybody that wants that Fiverr kit with all the different contractors for podcasting that I vetted out, just send me a message on Twitter and I'll make sure to follow up there. If you message me on Clubhouse, I'll try to see that too. Just I'm trying to keep it to as focal places as possible. Pamela, the setting up, not sure how to find my URL. Okay, Pamela, when you do find it, you could post it in the chat. I think, Pamela, it would be probably just I'm not sure. I'll wait till you find it so we don't have the wrong one. So this is Lab. You can have your website with a coming soon page if you wanted to do that. That way you could choose if you want your latest episodes or if you want a trailer to your podcast first. You could have links to your podcast. You could sort your podcast a certain way. You could hide images in the episode list. There are just so many different things that you can do that make your life easier as a podcaster by using Podpage. And so I've gone through that. I want to get to Tim's SEO audit. So in the intermission of that, if you have questions about anything that was discussed so far in Zoom, go ahead. I'm going to give each platform a second. In Zoom, go ahead and unmute right now to ask questions so far. And then right after, we're going to move to Tim's SEO audit. Any questions from anyone in the Zoom? Okay, cool. Any questions from anybody in Clubhouse? Go ahead and raise your hand if there's any questions in Clubhouse, and we'll pull you up to ask any questions in Clubhouse. And anybody within any questions in Twitter Spaces, go ahead and request to speak, and we'll pull you up to ask your questions. And any questions in YouTube Live, go ahead and there's no way to pull you up. You have to come into the Zoom. Chris, I'm so happy that you're happy. That makes me really happy. Happy to hear. Cool. Okay, so we're good. I don't see. Okay, everybody's just listening and immersing. Perfect. Tim, all here. Things you, 2 hours of patience. Now it's 2 hours, 15 minutes of patience. So let's do your, you already have been using answerthepublic.com, which is great. We talked about that earlier. Answer the Public is a great way to find out what people are searching for on the internet, to get different question ideas to be answering the public. So what is the best home fitness app, for example, is something people are searching for on the internet. And then you can create podcast and website content around that. For your SEO stuff.
I already used my 3 free Answer the Crowd or whatever it is, Answer the Public already. I'm out for the day. I'm going to have to do 3 more tomorrow.
Totally okay. Oh, here, Tim, give me 1 second just so I could show you Pamela's site so you can see her images real quick. So I'm going to pull that up. And then I'm also loading my screen with my SEO tools so we can start to do your audit. And it's just going to take a second. And everybody in the Zoom, I am going to take the time to read through the chat, just not right away, of course. Let's see where, oh, I didn't copy you. Let's see, Pamela. And so I'm going to Pamela's new pod page that she set up in a couple minutes so you can see. Wow, that looks great, Pamela. Okay, I'm going to do a screen share. Pamela, that looks awesome. So in just a couple minutes, Pamela created this, and you can see she has different images on each one. Pamela, can you unmute for a second and talk about how you did that?
Oh my gosh, thank you. Yes, let me turn on my video. I always think it's creepy when people are talking without me. I can't believe this. I've been stressing for the past year since I started my podcast on building a website, and I'm freaking out because I hate tech and I can't believe this. So yeah, each episode I have a different image. I mean, it's the same image, but it has that guest picture and their information about what the episode is, and it populated every single one of them immediately. I can't believe it.
It's and Tim, do you want to ask Pamela any direct question? How
did you do it? I'm looking at the pod page menu down there: dashboard, activity list, website, episodes. How did you do it?
When I put in my RSS feed, it pulled everything from my podcast. So those images, every time I do a podcast, I upload those images and attach them to that podcast in Libsyn. I use Libsyn.
Got it. So you've already done that over again where that's being hosted. And then when it slurped it in on your RSS, it just showed up on pod page automatically.
Yeah, I'm about to cry. I'm so, wow.
It's good.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then I did the pro, and I had the option to do my background colors. And it was just like click, click, and it was done.
Amazing.
I'm amazed. Thank you so much, Espree. I can't believe it.
Of course. And anybody that wants the pro for free for a month, it's Espree VIP is your code to get pro for free for a month. Yeah.
I just signed up for the year.
Oh, so that you got the discount then, right?
Like, this is, I mean, just from what I've seen, I was just like, I have to get this because
I think you save a day and it's worth it, the whole year's worth of a fee.
Oh my God, this saved me, so much time. And I can't wait to go back in and add my transcripts and all of that. Oh my gosh.
I think if you get the year with Espree VIP, I believe you get $20 off. I can't remember. You got your
25% off. So
was it 25%? I don't remember.
I haven't actually paid yet, so I haven't gotten to that point yet. So
cool. Just make sure to use your code so you have the cool discount. And I see, yes, Paul, go for it.
So I'm sure you see Maria here has a question, but also, and I'm sure I can just go right to the website and get that information, but do you or whoever just signed up, do they know how much is it a month? And I know that you get 25% off if we use Espree VIP, but just a
great question, Pamela. Any chance you could read us the pricing page?
Yeah, I think I have it memorized just in these minutes that I was on there. The basic is $9 and the pro is $15 if you do it yearly. 15 a month if you buy it yearly, and $20 a month if you buy it by the month.
Okay, so 15 a month if you do it yearly. And wait, say it again, Pamela.
So yeah, the pro is 15 a month yearly. If 15 per month yearly, so I guess that's 180 for the year. Okay. If you pay it by the month, it's $20 a month.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Pamela. So that answers the question. And Paul, you heard, right?
Yep, that's the whole room heard.
Awesome. And Maria, what is your question about everything I've shared so far?
Hello. Yes, I'm so sorry. I have to apologize. I just joined the room.
Oh, Maria. Okay, I'm gonna pause you because I am simulcasting from Clubhouse, from Twitter Spaces, from YouTube Live, and from Zoom. So I have to be really careful that we stay on topic with everything that we've shared.
Yes.
So if you just joined, you may not have context.
In with Pod Page.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
The
awesome.
reason I raised my hand, I was just going to sit in the audience and be a fly on the wall and listen to your brilliance. But you mentioned Pod Page.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to pipe in. I love Pod Page.
Okay, perfect.
It has saved my butt because then I don't have to worry about what platform the listeners want to listen on. That's the beauty of it.
Maria, can I share your Pod page? Are you comfortable with that?
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It's Strong Body, Strong Soul is the name of my show. But I've been waffly about where I'm hosting my platform, so I haven't gone all in on Pod Page. So my question for you, I mean, it's there. It's definitely there. I have.
Oh, can you send me the URL? The Pod Page URL.
Yes, I can. The thing is, I wanted to ask what your opinion is because I'm doing the free version. I don't pay anything at all.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a great question. So you could totally do it for free, or you could do the pro. With Espree VIP, you get the pro for free for a month. The reason I do the pro is because I want the extra features and I want to remove the Pod Page branding. Like, there's just extra features. So what I recommend is using Espree VIP, or at least just so you're not charged, or at least like if they have a trial, to do the trial so you could at least see what the pro offers you. I already have the pro, so to be honest, I can't remember which features are only available on the free. I wonder, you know what? I could actually maybe see if I switch my podcast to one I haven't started working on yet. How do I do that? Hold on.
Because they're so fantastic, and Facebook page is great too, by the way. Their group, the people in there are fantastic, and they keep adding new features, but I have not had time to really dig in. I would love to be able to get listener feedback on there, and listeners can call in and leave messages through Pod Page. That's what I love about it too, because I'm all about sharing other people's voices. You know, it just creates such a fun episode when I engage with the listeners.
Totally.
And that's a struggle on other platforms. So Pod Page does make it really easy. But like I said, I haven't dug in there. I have a feeling because I'm on the free version, that's not even an option, but I haven't had time to dig in and figure it out.
Yeah, I just tried switching my account to like a site that I haven't worked on yet, and I can't tell which features are free versus which ones are paid, but I know that I want to access all the features, so I just do the pro. I pay for the pro. But you're right, Marie, and I'm so glad you brought it up, that it is totally free. You would just be limited, and you'd have the Pod Page branding, which I'm proud of Pod Page, so that wouldn't bother me.
Yes,
but I do want all
beautiful.
the features. Yeah.
Their whole visual is just really, really pretty. And there's a way to do transcriptions and blog posts and all that kind of stuff, and linking it to reviews.
Yeah.
It has a ton of different things involved. I really am. It's very promising, the platform.
Thank you so much, Maria. And Maria, when you have a chance, go ahead and put in the messenger your pod.
Did.
Oh, you did. Okay, so I'm going to do that.
I did it in the back channel here in Clubhouse.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to pull that up real quick, and then I want to move to Tim's SEO. But Tim, here's another.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, Maria, and thank you so much for contributing. I really appreciate it. I want to show this because, Tim, I want you to see the different options you have, because I know you were saying it's a little confusing on the tech side. So by seeing like 3 or 4 different options that everybody's doing, you're able to see what's possible for you. So this is how it benefits not only you, but everybody listening in. And then, okay, let's see.
Just be kind when you comment on mine, please.
So, oh yeah, and please stay up here, Maria, while I'm talking about yours. So, so this is great. So this is an example of Maria's, podpage.com/strong-body. Oh, I'm going to put this in the Zoom chat for everybody in the Zoom, so it's easy for all of you. And let's see.
Oh, can I explain also on Pod Page, I named it Strong Body, Strong Soul, The Origin Show, because I switched to Podbean now. And so I'm still struggling with how to merge everything. So
yeah,
it says Origins Show.
And I believe Podbean is another podcast host, right? Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm more comfortable with the host I'm on right now.
Yeah.
And so I've gone back to them because I'm not sure what I'm doing.
Honestly, Brendan at Podpage is the most kind founder. Message him on Podpage support and he'll help, so that you can see an example of Maria's website here, really clean, and she's not even fully using it. She's on the free plan. So this is what she's getting with the free plan. And you can see she has the categories here. She has different artwork on each one. She has the different places to listen. She has an about section. She has the episodes. So just like that, even on the free thing. I mean, the free thing is powerful. I just particularly want all the features, but this is really powerful. So yeah.
Yes, and can I just throw out there the thing with calling in and with messages from listeners?
Oh, and here.
If anybody out there wants to test it out, I haven't had time to have any friends try it because I can't call myself.
So you see this.
If you want to, see if it works.
Totally. So you see this mic here in the bottom right of her website. This is where you could click and contact her. So, and you see this here, it says made with Podpage. That's a free thing too, which to me wouldn't bother me because I'm proud of Podpage, but that's on the free plan too, where that's linked to Podpage. So does that help a little bit, Tim, give more perspective on like what's possible on that side of things? Oh, I think Tim stepped
away. I'm pretty familiar with what's possible. It's more, how do you do it is my issue.
Okay, cool. And feel free to message me.
It's pretty intuitive.
No, Maria, he's because he works with Blueberry, it's more a technical thing. So
I've been doing it WordPad in the hard way. And so it's hard to sacrifice that work and then go to something new. So I'm considering it,
So I'm going to go back to, thank you so much, Maria. I appreciate you and allowing us to use your site as an example. I'm going to go back to do SEO. You're welcome to stay up here with us. I'm going to go back to, and Paul, thank you so much for empowering that to happen. I really appreciate you. Everybody, please do give Paul Vato a follow on Twitter and on Clubhouse. He is my co-pilot today as I'm doing this on Zoom, on Twitter, on Clubhouse, and YouTube Live all at the same time, just to empower the podcasting community to have an amazing, amazing podcast website. And he is contributing his time, and he's doing this out of the kindness of his heart. And he's amazing. And he's legit amazing. So it's at Paul Vato, PaulVato on social, on Twitter and on Clubhouse. And he's also on YouTube. So youtube.com/Paul Vato. He's such an amazing human. He's also the human that I learned about social audio apps first before anybody else. So he is the person to know to be a leader in this space. So I'm working on Tim's SEO right now. We're going to do some keyword research. So Tim, what keyword would you like me to search for you?
Why don't you just try outdoor education? Because I did that before.
Okay, cool. So
I went to Answer the World or whatever it was, and I saw some really interesting questions right out of the chute. It was a good, useful site.
Awesome. So he used answerthepublic.com in order to find his first questions that people were searching on Google. So I'm in semrush.com right now, which you could see if you go to youtube.com/Espree, you'll see SEMrush, and you'll see I'm in the keyword overview. I'm going to search in the United States, what people are searching for. Tim has stayed on from the beginning of the workshop just to have this SEO audit. So let's give him an incredible one. So you'll see, Tim, that you have the key term you asked to search was outdoor education. You'll see that key term gets approximately just under 2,000 searches a month in the US. It's like a 50-50 on difficulty on being able to rank for that keyword. What ranking for that keyword means is being in the first top 10 of Google or ranking at all on Google. And you see different key terms related to it. So you see outdoor education jobs. You'll see related keywords, outdoor education programs.
I have friends who work at the Breckenridge Outdoor Education Center.
What was that?
Number 4, I have friends who work there.
Oh, very cool. And so you'll see 260 people search for that in the US approximately a month, right? And that's how I'm finding that with SEMrush. Now, like how you saw on answerthepublic.com, in the middle of SEMrush, you see a bunch of the questions people are asking on the internet related to that keyword. So for you, Tim, I'm going to click on it, and please be allow grace for my internet processing speed as it pulls up the new page. And as this processes, everyone please give Paul Vato a follow to thank him for contributing literally hours of his time today just to support me in order to support you. It's extremely kind of him, and he did not have to do that. The main tool we're using to build a podcast website is podpage.com, which I am such a huge Podpage evangelist. The code to get a free month of pro is Espree VIP, and I'm using semrush.com to do keyword research. So you'll see, Tim, on the questions that people are asking, you can see how these match up with Answer the Public. Now, the cool thing you have with SEMrush is that you could see the volume of how many people are searching. So even though Answer the Public is really great because it gives you content ideas and it's the most amazing content idea generator, you won't necessarily know how many people are searching for that question. And potentially, what if it's like 10 people or one person? And so this is the one, what is outdoor education? That's the first one I would target in your case scenario. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah. Where do the questions come that have 0? Are those Google supplied from their, how should we say, AI, which is not AI? See all of those questions? Where did those come from? Who populated those?
So I don't know the technology behind how these SEO tool works. It's why I use these SEO tools, for them to do the hard work for me. So what I look for, because it's a fair question, I just don't happen to know the answer. So
I get over technical. I used to be a chief scientist of an internet company. So, I used to have people doing this for me. I know that sounds arrogant.
No, it doesn't sound arrogant at all. But what I was going to say is, what I look for is I look for the reputation of the companies. So I know SEMrush has a stellar reputation. Ahrefs has a stellar reputation. So I look for SEO to Answer the Public has a stellar reputation. So though I don't know how these things work technically on the back end, I know the reputation of the companies, and that's what I trust.
Where are you getting that? I don't see that.
The reputation of the companies?
Right.
I do a lot of research to find out.
Oh, I see. That's something you've amassed over time.
I do hours and hours and years of research to know who I like, who I trust. I meet with executives of the company. It's why I know, like, for instance, in the podcast hosting platforms, like when you're talking about different companies that are podcast hosts, I use Simplecast. I love Simplecast. I know that Simplecast is the number one, I believe that Simplecast is the number one podcast host to trust if you have a large brand and you want to make sure your podcast is really secure. Like Facebook, I believe Facebook uses Simplecast to power their podcast, things of that nature. At least they did. I haven't kept up with it, right? But they have such amazing security that's a really good option. For podcast education, there's a great guy, Justin Jackson. He's the co-founder of Transistor. So for podcast education, I'm like, okay, Transistor is great. For podcast marketing, I think Buzzsprout is great. Albun at the head of Buzzsprout is like so great when it comes to podcast marketing. So if you're thinking about like marketing is my weak point, maybe Buzzsprout is the best for you. So I just know a lot of the executives and via blog research and their moral character and stuff, and that's how I choose what tools to use, and I use them myself. Like I was saying, Tim, one of my favorite features on SEMrush is in the upper right hand side when I'm doing research. If I feel like it's daunting or I don't know where to go, I go to the upper right hand side where it's about to populate. It says export PDF, and then it will just spit out everything that actually I need to know. So I don't have to worry about making sense of everything. I'll have the PDF and I could just go from that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I have some real specific questions about the website and sort of the way that it's laid out. Could we maybe go over that?
Sure.
I've sent you the link to my site a couple of times, and you might just screen share it because maybe Paul would have something to say about it. I designed it myself, and the actual podcasts are not under the home page.
Is it?
And that's bothering me.
Hold on. Is it talesfromtheoutside.net?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And is this a pod page?
Yeah, it's a podcast on, it's hosted by Bluehost. So it's listed. You can get right to it.
No, so I wouldn't know how to change the formatting for anything outside of pod page.
So if you could just go over to the upper right hand corner or just navigate to the tails.
Yeah.
The real problem is that when I designed this, I put them all on a different page.
So I can't get into this because it doesn't serve like all the people listening on all the platforms, because this is specific to Blueberry, and I it's highly likely I won't have the answers.
It's a bit of a design question, though, isn't it? Because as soon as you did the pod page, I noticed that the homepage, or whatever you call your homepage, immediately the blogs, the actual pod episodes, are populated beneath there. Is that considered the way to do it? Because I'm not using a podcasting theme. I just used a free theme that was available, and I'm thinking about changing the theme to a purchased WordPress compatible theme.
So this is not a pod page. So just to kind of like match it, I'm going to go back to Sequoia's example. Oh, this one. Yeah, this was hers. I'm going to go back to Sequoia's example of she built this, I believe, in WordPress. I believe you built yours in WordPress, or that's powered by Blueberry.
Yeah, it's WordPress. I built it in WordPress.
So I'm just going to compare WordPress to WordPress just for a second. Now, I know this won't serve like everybody, but we're just going to keep this really focused just for like a couple minutes on like the elements that can serve when you're using pod page too, because you can move stuff around like really easy in pod page. So for example, she has like who she is and what this is about right at top. I'll tell you one thing that I think should always be up top that's not there in a second. She has it really easy to listen to her episodes. They look really clean. And then she has her merchandise there. And then she has the email. Now, this is the one thing, it's fine that it's down here, but I do think she should also have like some sort of email capture up top. And I also think that she should maybe have a pop-up box related to having a relationship with people coming to her site. Another thing she could possibly do is have a live chat to interact with people coming from her site. The problem that she has right now with this is people quickly come and then they go to Instagram, they go to Twitter. She is putting all of the focus and energy she's essentially telling people to leave her site immediately.
Yeah, go elsewhere.
Yeah. So I would create a hierarchy of features that you're enhancing the relationship with the people coming to visit you. I really like how clean everything looks. I like her font. I like that it's all one word up top. I like that it's short, not too much. Everything is so clean. I think she has a really beautiful, professional looking, credible WordPress website. But I don't think this website is optimized for enhancing the relationship. I think it's essentially directing people to leave. Also, if she wanted to sell more merch, I would potentially move the story up. I would also potentially include like about the history of her and why she created this and her mission. I'm clicking on about right now. But that's WordPress to WordPress. What I like about Podpage is like I wouldn't be able to tell her how to reformat things because you're limited to the theme, etc. So just like I can't tell you, but even here a few words about, I would go into her background story so much more, even include something about her background story on the homepage. And so these are things that I think are missing. But yeah, I can't get into much more detail than that.
Well, you did it for her page. Could you do it for mine?
Well, no, I wasn't doing it for her page. I was, oh, yes, who said something?
Espree, hello, it's Maria.
Hey, Maria.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I love what you just said about her guiding her other social media. Shouldn't it be the other way around? And we use the other platforms to get them to go to the website?
Yes,
right?
Maria, that's and thank you for speaking up. That's exactly right, Maria. You want to be using all your other social platforms, Twitter, Instagram. You want to be creating what I call a listener journey. How do they discover you and land on your website? And then how do you enhance that relationship? Tim, the reason that I think you misunderstood. I wasn't doing like a design audit. What I was showing you is the things she did right so that you can implement that into yours, because yours is very bare and there's nothing to critique right now, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, all the content is on a different page. It's clear that's the problem. That's why I'm thinking of changing the theme. If you go to the tails, that's where really all the episodes are.
Yeah, I'll click on tails for you. Hold on. But I do want to make sure this is something that could be applied to like everybody listening. Hold on one second. And I'm happy to do more SEO research with you as well. Yeah, honestly, through and through, and with love, Tim, with so much love, I don't think this is a very good website overall on any of the pages. And I think your baseline for like what a baseline good podcast website is, if in relation to WordPress, really quick, is this is beautiful. Like Sequoia's website is really beautiful. Do you have this link? Did you write down her link so you could?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So again, she has the thing at the top. It's very easy to read, easy to listen to the episodes, all on
Sequoia, what theme did you use?
Sequoia is why don't you message her? She's not up top anymore. She's in listener mode. Why don't you go to her website and message her there? Maybe connect with her on Twitter, Tim. You see her Twitter right there? I'll pull it up for everybody too. Sequoia Blue, SIQUOYIA Blue. And I'll put it in the, or not. That doesn't seem, try the Instagram. I don't want to open too much stuff because I don't want the thing to grow, but on the top of her thing, try her Instagram. And Sequoia, heads up that your Twitter isn't there. Cool. And that's something for everybody to do too. Make sure your links are working. Click on all your links and make sure they're working. So let's go back to you, Tim, and do more SEO keyword research. What is your main competitor? Tim?
Yeah, why don't you just go on to somebody else? I appreciate your help. Thanks.
Oh, why? Are you frustrated, Tim?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I thought it was going to be SEO design and help, and I mean, I certainly understand the SEO audit and I get all of that. Those aren't the problems that I had, and it's not quite what I thought I was going to get here. So, other people have specific questions having to do with building a website that they haven't put any time into yet.
So, Tim, I will take my personal time and for free give you a 30-minute direct one-on-one session at some point later today so you could feel fulfilled. Does that help?
No, that's great, and I just don't want to waste other people's time, because, when you get involved in these things, you're just not quite sure how it's going to go.
So Tim, message me, and just like I've contributed my time here for free, I never want anybody to feel, and I know that you've been patient waiting so long, and I will share with you directly in order to serve you.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions on Clubhouse, on Twitter, or on Zoom that I could support? Anybody else want an SEO audit? I will be doing this for 15 more minutes. I'm already over an hour and a half of what I planned. This is all contributing to community. I am not being paid for this. This is just to empower you to be great podcasters. So, anybody have questions on Clubhouse, raise your hand right now. Anybody have questions on Zoom, go ahead and unmute. Anybody have questions on YouTube Live? I will check the chat right now. Probably rounding to zero volume Hugh. Oh, who was that? Oh, Pilar, hey.
Pilar, hey. Thank you so much for this.
Of course, Pilar, can you share with everyone? You do so much great work in like the self-care space. Would you mind sharing with it? Just because it's like a beautiful thing. Would you mind sharing with everybody how to find you and your work?
Sure. I'm at Pilar Cote on all the socials. And on Clubhouse as well.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'll read these two. Pilar, what is your question? I'm so happy to see you.
Hi, this has been fantastic, super grateful.
Yay.
My notes, I think I got a little confused.
Yeah.
In the section where you were discussing blogging is everything and how to take our keywords and transcriptions.
Yeah.
You mentioned that we could repurpose our content. Was that for YouTube or for Google purposes?
So to me, wait, I want to take off this screen because I'm like seeing myself. Are you, by the way, are you comfortable going on video? You don't have to at all, but you and I could talk one-on-one if you want. Would you rather stay off video?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's 100% okay.
Like I'm moving around, sorry.
No, it's 1,000% okay. I was just going to make it more intimate between you and I. So, so your here, and I stopped the screen share. Okay, so your question is, how do you repurpose your content for Google or for YouTube, and what is the difference? Am I understanding correctly?
Right.
Okay, so essentially I see YouTube and Google as the same thing. And so to me, YouTube and Google is a search engine. I'm an audio podcaster first. So like, it's a search engine and I want to cater to the search engine of the internet. So I'm looking up keyword research in order to cater to the search engines of the internet. Right. And so, when I'm creating YouTube videos, I'm thinking about putting them in the title. I'm thinking about the show notes. But the thing to understand different between YouTube and audio podcasting is that it's two entirely different marketing vehicles. And so with YouTube, you have to think about thumbnails, and that's actually insanely important that you have amazing thumbnails. So if you don't have amazing thumbnails on YouTube, you probably won't get the CTR, the click for conversion. Like that stuff doesn't matter in audio podcasting. But what matters everywhere is keywords. So as far as like just kind of like the internet, I see them as the same thing, but from marketing, I see them as two entirely different things. Does that make sense?
Oh my God, yes. It's perfect. Now I get, you totally clarified it. Thank you.
Cool. And I just want to get into repurposing for another second because we talked about it a lot earlier, but for anybody that wasn't in earlier, I really think a strong, fluid way to repurpose is transcribe your podcast episodes using headliner.ai. Headliner.ai will find the quotable bits for you. You'll put the quotable bits into an AI writer, and then you can create a blog post. I'll show you this one more time. Let's see if I still have it up on my screen. I think this is it. Let me do a screen share again. Dun, dun, dun. All right. And you could see like this AI writer, I typed in the keyword home fitness and I did the tone of voice as Joe Rogan and I just made it really simple. Look at this. I'm going to do Command J and it's just going to start writing more. So imagine you just have something pulled out from your transcript and then you can create a whole blog post using that. Pilar, were you already familiar with AI writers?
No, this is absolutely new to me and I'm so grateful.
Sure. So I use conversion.ai. There's also copy.ai, and there's a great guy on Twitter at Hey Blake who's like really popular for his stuff. Here, I'll put that. And trying to be careful, like not to crash the pages. So hold on one second. And then there's Peppertype, which is a new one that's a bit cheaper, and I hear that that they are pretty. Hold on, I'm not great at multitasking, which is funny because I'm simulcasting everywhere. They are pretty great at the AI thing as well. So Peppertype is a little bit more affordable. And then I'm going to share my screen again so you can see Hey Blake, who is the head of marketing at copy.ai. But again, I use conversion.ai. So Pilar, does that help kind of a little super boost?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yay! Anybody else on Zoom, go ahead and unmute and ask your questions.
Hi, Espree. Just a very quick one. It's Lawazi again. I'd put it in the chat. I just wanted to get a sense from you around, is it possible to integrate your pod page into sort of existing communities, or how do they interact with places like Mighty Networks, Comsor? Just trying to figure out how you can consolidate community and traffic, or do they have to exist separately?
Such a great question. So I showed you Kevin Rose's, am I still screen sharing? Yeah, right? Can you see that?
Yeah, I just didn't see it on the API drop downs you had shared in terms of integrations.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like if it's integrated with an API, like Circle integrates Mighty Networks. Do you know, that's such a great question. I'm not sure. So can you message, I mean, you don't have to let us know now, but message Brendan, the founder of Podpage, and he'd totally answer that for you. I would be surprised if he doesn't have it in mind.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Bro, thank you.
He's really like focused on building the technology and integrations for us to make the technical side of being a podcaster like seamless. And so I would be surprised, and keep me posted what you find out.
Will do. Thank you so much. This was amazing. I'm in South Africa. I'm going to bed now, but this was amazing.
You got it. And by the way, Wazi, I use Circle as well. So I totally understand where you're coming. I have Facebook groups and I have Circle, and so I get what I get why you want to do that. So, and definitely feel free to reach out to me if you have questions as you go through that journey. But just to answer it directly, without the integration natively, I think you can do something like community.kevinrose.com, and then it would just be your Circle.
Okay, cool. I'll play around with it. I'm excited to buy it and everything tomorrow, so I'll keep you posted.
All right. I want to travel to South Africa one day. How cool.
Come through anytime. This is amazing. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Yes, Paul.
This is Paul Rato.
Hi.
I don't know if you have time. We have somebody else I wanted to ask a question.
Yep.
And then just to clarify, there's something called Headliner AI, which their website is headliner.app. And then there's also a headliner.ai, which that's the one to record. I don't know if they're part of the same organization or not. I don't know if you know what's going on.
Yeah. Great question. They're the same company. Headliner.ai is their new product called Backstage. Headliner.app is their social media trailers.
Great. Okay. I just thought we should clarify that because there's just a slight confusion. All right. Thank you.
No, that's a great clarification. I'm also bringing up Bernetta. I don't know what her question is, but I don't know. Hey, Bernetta, what's your question?
Thank you so much for sharing so generously today.
Sure.
Your information has been awesome. My question was, I just messaged you. How long will the Espree VIP 30-day trial be available?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that's a great question. I don't think there's a expiration on it, but maybe there is. So I'm not sure. I didn't ask. That's a great question. Why don't you just DM me and I could find it out for you later?
Sure. Thank you so much. That's the only question that I had. Thank you for everything.
You got it. So happy to help. And thank you for coming up, Bernetta. Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know what Bernetta's talking about, if you want 1 month free of PodPage Pro, that's Espree VIP, gives you a month free, or it also gives you a discount if you get the annual plan. Yeah. Cool. Unmute anybody on Zoom, and I'm happy to answer your questions. And then I'm also going to look at the YouTube chat for any questions there, and I'll try to look at my Twitter as well for any questions there. Anybody on Zoom, unmute if you have a question. And then I'm going to click on perfect. Okay, it looks like we're good. I appreciate you, Happy. I see your note and I so appreciate you. Cool. Looks like, okay. I'm doing the best I can to get everybody's information or questions. If I missed anything, I'm going to jump on social after. But again, I'm going to give one last chance. Crystal, thank you so much. Zeka, thank you so much. And Zeka, thank you so much for the contribution this week. That was really lovely of you. And Tristan, let's see. I see, I'm like, there's like, I see my own YouTube player going slow. I should probably close tabs. It's probably buffering and I had no idea. Hopefully everybody had a good experience. But I see one more hand raised for Clubhouse, so I'm going to pull Anne up. And then I think I'm going to give it 5 more minutes to kind of do our wrap up remarks and read the Zoom, and then we'll wind down. Mike, thank you so much for the lovely comment. And Elvis, oh my gosh, everybody's so sweet. Michelle, so sweet. Oh, Pamela, yes, it's Espree VIP. I'll put it right there. Okay, I just put it in the code in the Zoom, and I'll read every single chat before I sign off in the Zoom so I can make sure. Anne, what is your question?
Oh, hello, I'm Anne. I'm so excited. You are just sharing amazing things. I apologize. I had to work, so I didn't get to hear most of it. But and you made a great recommendation with that last AI software. What would be your favorite software if somebody was just starting on podcasting, like to use as a podcast one that's easily you could load onto all the different podcasting sites.
Oh, okay. So what would be the easiest podcast host to use to distribute to all the podcast sites? I use Simplecast. That's the one that I've chosen for myself. I highly recommend Buzzsprout, run by Alban, and Transistor. They're all different and offer something different. But essentially, drop this note down, and it's also on my Twitter too. I put them there as well. There's Buzzsprout, Libsyn,
Okay.
Simplecast,
Libsyn with an L.
Libsyn.
Okay.
Buzzsprout,
Yeah.
Simplecast, Transistor. A lot of people use Anchor. I particularly don't like Anchor only because I'm uncertain on who owns my content, and I just want to make sure I fully own my own content. But that is something that a lot of people use. Also, Supercast is amazing if you want to do a private podcast.
What does that mean? What's a private podcast?
It's where it's not accessible to the public.
Oh.
So Supercast, and then the person to follow, I think she is just such an amazing champion for community, is Ari This and That on Twitter. It's at ARI This and That on Twitter. I'll actually put her profile up on the screen too for anybody watching in.
Beautiful.
And also actually Justin Jackson. Ari This and That and Justin Jackson are amazing community educators.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. And I just put up Ari's profile on the screen. I think I'm going to leave it up as like a community offering to her because she's just so amazing. Definitely follow Ari This and That. And 100% follow Paul Vato everywhere, who has contributed 3 hours of his time today just to support me and supporting you. And he's not being paid. He's like amazing. He's an amazing human that just is delivering kindness to all of us. And so that's PAULVATO on Twitter, on is that on Instagram too, Paul? On Clubhouse?
It is. And wait, this is the first I'm hearing this. I'm not getting paid for this?
Nice. I pay you in expertise as much as possible.
You know what? If that's the case, I owe you a lot of money because you've been invaluable, like not just today, but also in our previous conversations. So same, I know that you don't necessarily always like to promote yourself, but I'll do it for you if you'd like, because everyone should definitely follow Espree. So thank you so much for even doing this. You've put in so much time and effort into this. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And I'm pulling up your Twitter on the screen as well. So everybody could easily follow you. And there's, speaking of money and things, related to just gratitude, I think Twitter and Clubhouse has like a tipping thing. If you want to tip Paul for volunteering his time today, like that would be like just phenomenal. He really did not have to support us and me today. And so if you just click on the tipping thing, I don't even know if he has it enabled, but if he does, there you go, on Twitter or on Clubhouse, and definitely like send him a thank you. So, okay. Any more questions on Clubhouse? Any more questions on Zoom? Any more questions on YouTube chat? Let me check.
Did we get to Anne here on Clubhouse? I'm sorry if I missed
yes, we just answered.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I just answered for Anne. That's how we got to Ari. Crystal, thank you so much for your love. Oh, and Podcast Father uses Captivate for hosting. So Anne, write down Captivate, which was a tip from our community.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, super.
Yeah. And then I think Maria uses Podbean, right?
I use Podpage and I use Anchor. I'm embarrassed.
Oh, it's okay. No worries.
I know how to push all the buttons, and it works for me. Can you real quick, I had to step away for a minute. I apologize.
It's okay.
You just mentioned a site. What was it?
Captivate?
Yeah, what is that?
That's another podcast host. It's like Anchor.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
There are so many.
There are so many. So, yeah, my name is Espree Devora. I'm going to leave Paul's page up as I'm talking. This has been a community workshop to build your podcast website. I am just so thrilled to have been a part of this journey with you. Connect with me on Twitter, on Clubhouse, wherever, on Instagram, wherever you go. This was a complete experiment. I will not be doing this again. I was just contributing my time as an experiment. To give you a rundown of how I'm set up, I have all the screens with the Zoom open on my computer, and I used Luma, LU.MA, to create the event there. And then I used the Zoom to live stream onto YouTube. And then I had a Clubhouse on my iPad, and I have Twitter Spaces on my iPhone, and I'm using a Snowball Blue mic in order to capture the audio from Clubhouse and from my voice with ease. Hopefully everyone can hear okay. And I made sure to have the audio setting for my mic not too high, because I particularly speak too loud and I didn't want to blow out everybody's eardrums on the Zoom. And yeah, Paul, do you have any questions, or is there anything? Oh, Maria, I saw you were about to ask a question.
I'm sorry. I just really wanted to compliment you on balancing all of those platforms. You are amazing. I'm an Insight Timer meditation teacher. And so what I've been doing is doing meditation sometimes here on Clubhouse and recording it through Audacity and then uploading it and blah, blah, blah. But it can get confusing.
Totally.
So, thank you so very much.
You got it.
Great job.
You got it. And speaking of Clubhouse recordings, remember Headliner.ai also makes it so you can easily record your Clubhouse sessions for free. If you have public podcasts that you do on Clubhouse, use Headliner.ai to record your Clubhouse sessions. All you do is paste the event URL and it does the recording for you. Super awesome. Yeah, and my name's...
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Headliner.ai. So with that being said, Paul, any questions from you before we wrap up? And I see we have one more question. I love people so much. I just can't stop. Chris, I'm bringing you up too. Paul, hold that thought. Chris, what question do you have? Oh, we can't hear you, Chris. Paul, what questions do you have? What actions would you like people to take?
Man, this has been fantastic. It's been wonderful. I wanted to give a suggestion because Maria just kind of jogged my mind. There's another great app, and I can't remember, Espree, if I already told you about Lemur, Limor.
No, what's that?
So it almost feels like Twitter, but it's all voice. And I feel that the future of social media and is voice, audio, and whatnot. But with Lemur, you can put up stories, and then people can leave responses all via voice. And shortly, they're going to have the ability, if you've recorded a memo or if you've recorded your podcast, you can upload it to Lemur as well. So it's this whole community. It's from Ireland. The founder, Shane Monahan, was a pro football player, or as we like to say, soccer. At least that's what it should be called. And just kidding. And but it's just another great community that's being built out there. And
can you spell it for everybody?
Yes, Limor. I believe IE is the website.
Okay, LIMOR.IE for everybody listening on YouTube and Zoom and Twitter Spaces. Yeah.
So it's a voice social media app where you can create stories, or like Maria, if she wants to put her meditation, and then people can actually leave questions via voice, and you can interact there. And it's I don't think it's been around that long, but I see the value in that. And also, of course, Fireside. I don't know if you want to talk about that, or that's for a different day. But I feel Fireside chat app is another. It's Mark Cuban's project, and so I know that they're trying to get that going. You do have to apply to be a creator and then request access. But if anybody wants to request access, just DM me and I can send you guys, the links for that. But it allows you to record. What's that?
I'm sorry, that's Paul?
Yes.
Yes. Wow,
you guys are amazing. I have to say, audio technology is just off the charts all over the place with the Spoon app and stereo and all these different places. I feel like I have heard of Lemur. And Paul, even with my meditations, it is nice to get feedback from the listeners. As much as I'm always saying I'm putting my voice out there, I don't know who's supposed to hear me. I'm just here to help people, but it does help. So that's the beauty of messages on Anchor. But I love the idea of Lemur. I'm going to look that up. Thank you.
Definitely look it up. Let them know that I sent you over there. But it's just because they are trying to grow the community. But when you mentioned that, I was like, this might be right up your alley. Because you do. You put your content out to the world. But here they can, you can interact with the people. They might have questions or clarification or just topics for you to speak on next. But Espree, this has been invaluable for me. I mean, just to have been able to create a website. And for those of you that just joined us, we can give you the website. We're literally within 3 minutes, you can have your own website for your podcast. It makes it effortless. And Espree, thank you for putting my social media out there. And likewise, everyone follow Espree Devora for if you're in technology, if you're in LA. Women first, everything, creator content. So thank you so much for having me and allowing me to do this, Espree. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on some of my favorite music. I'm going to leave Paul up on the screen so you could say hi to Paul. First, I'm going to just open this real quick. I'm going to turn on some of my favorite music, and I'm going to look through all your messages before I close out all the screens to get back to you. So if you want to hang out in the rooms, kind of like a faux co-work session while I look at while I turn on my music and I respond to your comments. That way you could still ask and I could still pull you up. So everybody in the Zoom, I'll be reading through the chat. Everybody in Clubhouse, I'll be looking through Clubhouse messages. Everybody on Twitter, I'm going to be looking at as much as I could look at. But I also have to make sure I'm not missing anything in my own schedule. So I'm about to turn on the music now. Again, my name is Espree Devora, and you all are amazing. So here's my favorite vibes. All right. Oh, and if you want to join the Zoom where I am right now, go to Luma, so lu.ma/podcast website -2. And I see D just joined. All right, so you're going to listen in on my vibes, and I am going to start commenting. And Paul, thank you for being absolutely amazing. I'm leaving Paul up on the screen share so everybody can connect with him.
Are you playing the drums right now too?
Yeah.
Espree's very, very talented.
Multitasking.
One of the most talented people I know.
Thank you so much, Espree. I gotta take off. I did send you a couple of back channel messages, but don't worry about it.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Mike. Hold on, I'm just reading through everything, then we'll talk. Oh, Pilar, I'm happy to do an SEO audit for you if you'd like.
Oh, no worries, hon. It was a competitor that I was curious about.
Oh yeah, let's do that before I sign off. We could do it off the record too in like a couple minutes if you want.
I don't want to take any more of your time.
I want to serve you. It's totally okay. Pilar, you and Mike would be really good friends. You're both like with the same kind of mindset. Angwa, I'm sure you are really sweet too. I just don't know you like I know Pilar and Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Pilar. I followed you on Twitter, so.
I'm going to find you right now, too.
Do I have that funny, like, staring at your computer face right now? I have to, like, I'm like, just smile so you don't have that goofy face. How do you spot it? Oh, good. I'm glad I answered that for her. This is what I have in WordPress. Oh, Michelle left such a sweet message. Oh, Pilar, thank you. You're so sweet. Okay, so I got the Zoom messages, and then hold on. Now let me do Clubhouse. Ah, so sweet. Ishwana, Ishwar, yeah, you're so sweet. Thank you. Let's see. Anne, yes. Maria, thank you so much for your contributions. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got to get that for Brunetta. And then, cool, get that. All right, so I think I got those. What else am I missing? Paul is amazing. Paul, you're an amazing human. Okay. Pamela. This has been so much fun. Okay, cool. Got those. Now, Twitter. Let's see. Holy moly. A lot of engagement on my thing. I haven't looked at my phone. Honestly, if 2 people were listening, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have, like, that's just crazy. Okay, let's see. Happy sent me like the sweetest message. How cool! Oh my god, that's so cool! Danny, thank you! Oh my gosh! That's so cool! Let's see. Let's see. Okay. All right. I think I got the majority of questions, like that I could get in the DMs that I could get, not the public ones because that will overwhelm me. So I'm gonna Happy, thank you so much for like the lovely comment. That was really nice of you to say. So I'm gonna end everything, and then Pilar, Mike, and not everything. Pilar, Mike, and Engwa and I will hang out, and Pilar, I'll do SEO stuff, and then I'll get to talk. So first, I'm going to end. Everybody on Clubhouse, it's been so great connecting. Have a great rest of day. Bye. Paul, you're amazing.
Thank you. Right back at you. Thank you so much.
Bye, Bernetta. Bye, Anne. Bye, everybody. Of course. All right. So that. Okay, Clubhouse is ended. And now everybody on Twitter Spaces, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. All right. And now last but not least is live. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Stop live stream. All right, bye everybody. Let's see, I'll stop the screen share and properly say bye. How do I stop a screen share? Let's see. Am I not screen sharing? Oh, okay. Bye everybody. It's been so good, like, spending your day with you. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, YouTube.